every Thursday in the month of February. So that's my guess, but they are off tonight. Back at it tomorrow. There is that. Cardinals with another spring training game, and now it looks like with Bryce Harper, per reports, which is how many times we've said that for 5 months now, the Giants and Dodgers are back in, along with the Phillies. And if he winds up going to Philadelphia, you'd go, what in the... Was it just an act the whole time? Or because I would have been like, I would have figured he would be in Philadelphia by now if he wanted to go to Philadelphia.
I did read a report
every Thursday in February.
I did read a report the other day, and maybe because he's not a well-known guy, but it's a talk show host in Philadelphia, WIP, and he said he had a very, very reliable source that said the only thing holding up the Philadelphia deal is they won't give in on a 3-year opt-out after 3 years.
Who reported that?
A talk show host at WIP. Like I said, I mean, he's not a well-known guy, but he does do the show there, and he said he had a very good source that said the Phillies right now don't want to give an opt-out after 3 years, and that's what's holding up that deal.
Could be. We don't know what the reports are because you have some media that seem to be on the payroll.
Yeah.
But if you're the Phillies, wouldn't you rather have him for 3 years than no years? And you get out of the last 7 years of the contract if he leaves. Might not be a horrible thing.
The other thing, too, is when you're negotiating these things, you don't want to be the Padres and negotiate against yourself. If this is just part of negotiations and you honestly feel like there's no one else offering the amount of years and the amount of money that he's going to get, so you keep pushing it, knowing he's not ready to jump in on one of the other offers he's getting that might not be the same, so you push to get your side of the contract.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Watch TMA on YouTube. Click the bell to subscribe. Download the podcast. Find it at TMASTL.com or wherever you podcast. And check us out on TikTok at TMASTL.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After on 105.7 FM HD2.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. If you're like most folks, you probably added some credit card debt over the summer. Vacations, projects around the house, heck, just living costs an arm and a leg these days. Have you thought about a cash-out refinance? Maybe you think that mortgage rates are too high. Take a look at those credit cards. Most of them are in the 20% range. With a cash-out refinance, you can pay off your credit cards, save hundreds of dollars a month, and when mortgage interest rates come down, we will refinance your loan with no lender fees to save you even more money. And it doesn't stop there. If you're thinking about buying a new home, we've got you covered. Don't let today's mortgage rates be the reason that you don't make the move. Home prices have really started to come down, and there's some great deals out there. We already have some of the lowest rates in town. And when they drop, we will refinance your loan with no lender fees to get that payment nice and low. Get all your questions answered and get started on your new life today. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan of TMA, and I am thrilled to have new clients on board Longo Biggs Injury Law. CD Longo and Doug Biggs. And Doug, the thing I want our audience to know is that you guys are local and you guys are different. Tell our audience how you're different.
Yeah, Tim, both CD and I are from St. Louis area, born and raised in the South City area or the South County area, and we are also thrilled to be part of the TMA family now. If anyone signs up with us for an injury case, their case is treated like they are family. We get to know you, we get to know the ins and outs of your case, and make sure we represent you like you are part of our family. We're not like one of the large firms in the area who might take your case and just treat you like another number or another file. You'll get our personal attention. It's either CD and I who will handle your case directly, and if you are injured in an accident, please remember us. You can visit us at longobiggs.com, and that's Biggs with 2 G's.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hello, it's Jackson for Rosalita's. TMA listeners know that Rosalita's Cantina has the best patio and the best Tex-Mex in town. From tableside guac to piled high nachos, the amazing menu at Rosalita's is full of classic Mexican dishes. Plus, it's always time for a margarita, and Rosalita's has the most delicious house and specialty margs in town. Enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, and let Rosalita's cater your next event. Check out rosalitascantina.com or visit the downtown or DePere location today. Time to get your fiesta on at Rosalita's.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back, and bigger than ever with $14 million in guaranteed prizes only at Circus Sports. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere, 2 ways to win and no rake. Play Circa Million. Make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts. Or join Circa Survivor, where you select one team each week straight up. Last the longest to win it all. $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Visit circasports.com for details.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After on KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, The Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You're listening to the Ryan Kelly Morning After. Welcome, friends, to the Michelob Ultra Studios. Timothy Michael McKernan. Jackson Burkett is sitting in Doug's chair. Doug is vacationing in the Hamptons today. Kenneth Iggy, the Plowhawk, and I assume KG and O-Town is in the Horton Watkins Seckman Studios today. They're the Seckman Studios today?
They are. Go Jaguars.
Fight. Jaguars. Beat.
Fox.
Who do they play? Oh.
Is Fox the Foxes?
Nice.
Commanders.
Used to be Warriors?
Yeah.
I'm glad they fixed that.
Long
I was
overdue.
explaining that to my son last night, and
You were choked up when you were doing
he said, "But Father, why?"
I was ready to leave the country until they changed that.
He's going to leave the country, but now they've changed it. He will still be here, but Jackson and KG and O-Town will not be tomorrow. They are headed to Las Vegas. We are 24 hours away from departure, and all the ass in Las Vegas is nervous.
I would say so, Tim. We checked into our flight already. 6:10
how'd you
a.m.
do? Did you get an A group?
A41, A42.
Oh, wow. Balso Hard University.
Which makes me think it's not going to be a full flight, because usually when you check in, even if you check in right on the button, you usually get like a B30 situation, because you can like pay to get the checked in before. So it makes me think it's not a very full flight Wednesday, 6 a.m. to Las Vegas.
Yeah, you guys will probably have a row to yourselves.
Would assume so.
Snuggle up.
Yeah, so
Use your
6:10.
hands.
So during the show tomorrow, me and KG are useless to you boys. We are up in the air and useless. So I have all the faith in the world in the Plowhawk. Trust Plow.
No, I like to surprise people from time to time. And I think I put my apron on, roll up these sleeves, and flat get to work.
That's what you're going. You're going to put your apron on tomorrow?
Yeah.
You're going to wear an apron?
Yeah.
I'd say a smock. Yeah, and then I'll be back Thursday and Friday. I'll be on the presentation live from Vegas.
But I mean, you're really not on the show all that much when you're here. But now you're going to be on the show, just sitting there from Las Vegas. Is that what the plan is?
Yeah, chiming in with my little takes and little comments.
Story time.
Keeping them to my homeboys.
I don't host the show, and I have no control over it, but I mean, I don't think anybody would be upset if you didn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to come on and talk every 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right, but the company that's putting me up would
okay.
like me to be on the presentation.
Okay.
Nice, Jackson.
Iggy's withdrawn that.
Well, yeah.
Let's act like that didn't even happen.
Back to you, Steve.
Foot shoulder is our first text, 314-881-TMA5. That's the EDF Group text inbox. Come on in, friends. They used to be known as Engineered Design Facilities, but now they are the EDF Group. Go online at theedfgroup.com. They're your one throat to choke for all your data needs. It's EDF. Used to be Engineered Design Facilities, but it's not anymore. The EDFgroup.com. Says Southwest dropped the early bird the other day. What does that mean? Like you can no longer fly out at 6 in the morning? Is that what foot shoulder? Is that accurate? What's going on? Where's my nurse?
I think he's talking about the early bird check-in that you can pay for.
Oh, really?
Which would be shocking to me.
Why? I wonder what the reasoning was. Yeah, 100%. That's just taking money off the top line.
Because it's like, what, $20 extra and you can get early check-in like that?
Foot shoulder, you've piqued my curiosity.
Right.
Usually it's just the cockpicks that get sent in. So
Yeah.
this is neat. This
Nice
is fun.
change of
This is
pace.
fun. It is a nice change of pace. Why? Yeah. I thought it was $15. Is it now $20
That
for the
might
over?
be what it was, yeah.
Having young children benefits because you get to board in between the A and B groups for the family boarding. So I haven't had to worry about that in a while. Yeah, if you're in a C group and you have a cross country flight, pack a lunch because you're going to be in the middle of
Couple of gentlemen.
possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, could be whoever it is, but you just hope you're not around sky picking. I would think at 6:10 a.m. we'll avoid sky picking. However, down to Jamaica, we had like a 5:30 flight, and there was sky picking. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Guys, can we get a rundown of the extra duties Iggy will be taking on this week with KGNO 10 and Jackson out? That's from Jonathan Mardukas.
I don't think it's any of your business.
They really
John, there's your answer.
They love to just destroy Iggy on every chance they can.
Lousy
He
will
had
do
done
most of
nothing
it.
wrong.
I really don't know how to download the podcast and put all that stuff up. So Lousy will be back there. I mean,
I'll be bopping.
You'll be
in and out.
bopping?
So when the show, I'll record, and when the show does start, I'll make sure to tie up loose ends on the podcast for the hour before. But I'll be back in, kind of monitoring everything. So I think it'll be business as usual, just be a little bit more hectic, but...
What I'll do, if Jackson has something he'd like me to do while he's gone, all he's got to do is ask me. He knows that.
Absolutely. We have a very open line of communication on this presentation.
Hey, just tuning in. Do you guys address the boomer humor crap I sent in? It needs to be tended to. What is this? I don't know what this is. This is Mr. Lick's thing?
He's asking if we've tended to something that he brought up.
And we've been on
Unprovoked.
air for 4 minutes. We're supposed to attend to something
Yeah,
that
we're
quickly?
celebrating KGNO Town and Jackson going to... Have you lined up any plans yet? I feel like right now this is a very improv trip.
I would say that is accurate, but that's because I don't really have any, I've never been there, so I'm a total blank canvas when it comes to the Vegas experience, so I am open to anything. I definitely want to go check out the Strip, see a bunch of different casinos and hotels, try a couple good restaurants, go to the pool situation, see what Circa has to offer in terms of the casino and that sports book, the stadium sports book by the pool. I want to see all that stuff. So really, it's more of an exploration trip.
Well, you have Heidi Fleiss is willing to. I talked to her the other night.
You talked to her?
She said, come on by. You can go by, look at all of her birds.
Now, when you say go on
That
by,
sounds...
like it's like Madame Tussauds wax
And
museum,
where does
I
she
can
live?
just drop in.
She lives in, Henderson?
Yeah. Right outside of Henderson. I'm sure it's you're living in a place with 45 exotic birds. I'm sure it's kind of a...
Oh, that gotta have a smell.
It's almost like I gotta go to a birdhouse.
It's almost worth
Owned
doing
by
an
a
Instagram
former-
just to get a picture of all of her birds and her feeding them with her mouth and things like that. Puts a little cracker
so
in her
many
mouth
words
and feeds
there.
the bird.
Wonderful words.
So she's feeding them with her mouth.
I have the best words.
She's doing fine.
All right. Well, that's certainly something to put on the back burner. You know,
Right.
maybe not if something's closed. Maybe it's like, all right, now we go see Heidi Fleiss and her birds.
KGNO Town Jackson has said, to the dismay of one Jamie Rivers, that there is a 1% chance of him engaging in coitus in Las Vegas. I was candidly stunned by that. What is your number?
15%.
Okay.
15%, yeah.
Is that for me or for,
There's
for you,
hookers.
sir? Well, yeah, that doesn't count.
That's for me. I put Jackson more at 43.7.
43%. Do you guys each have your own rooms?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
we do. So that won't be a problem in terms of putting the sock on the door or anything. But I don't know.
Is that a thing? That sock could be stolen, right? There's going to be some drunk Hoosier that's going to steal that sock. Or
I'd be willing to lose a gold toe if it meant I got home. But regardless, that won't be an issue we'll have to worry about. Yeah, I just think 1% is my number. And
I think you're being
apologize.
modest.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I really don't. Jamie Rivers appalled.
I think I went with too much of a big head down to Jamaica. And,
Well, that
and that bit me in the ass, to be frank with everybody.
Well, we were at Sandals, which is a lot of couples,
All couples.
and we weren't going outside of the resort.
Doug was there with Greg Vaughn.
Right.
Iggy was single.
Look, I don't even have sex anymore, and I'd probably be 75% if I went.
Is that right?
So,
And that's not paying for it?
It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Wow.
What do you go?
Plowhawk's taking the under. I just
I
picked
think
up
we
a
need to
reading.
get Iggy out there immediately and do a 72-hour canvas.
No,
You
Vegas
cruise the
is-
smoking section of the slot
It's
machines?
This is pretty easy. There's a lot of loose women going down there.
Going down there. Are you talking about Jamaica? Or are you talking
There,
about
over there, wherever
Out
it
there?
is. Out left.
A lot of
left.
loose women. He just
You run
said.
an out pattern out to the left.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll go to a club. I guess we're gonna go to a club, so that will be the opportunity.
I need to get you to Dre's Beach Club.
Dre's Beach Club.
Neo's performing with his fedora.
Oh, I do like Neo and his fedora.
Let me
Year
tell you
of the
something.
gentleman.
If you tried, you would get laid. if you tried. That's up to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I mean, again, it depends on what our bar is.
Well, I mean, you can get a Fenton 1.
Oh, my God. Is that even on the Richter scale?
Not on Rick's scale.
That's passed down from a slot machine with a cigarette in her mouth.
My theory, Rick really isn't a one-night stand kind of guy. I don't see him trying to bang, and the first step to manifesting a goal is to visualize it, and he isn't visualizing it. Therefore, it's love and hand time. That's from Shrimply Pibbles.
Isn't it more expensive out to Vegas to wine and dine and court a female as it is to just
That's a great
buy
question,
a hooker?
Plowhawk. What I
You're
would
talking about
tell you
hanging out
is
at the
this,
pool.
is back in the day, I'm a married father, 46 years old now. So I look back on this in past tense. But back in the day, the teens, the aughts, my compadres who had material cash, they would do, as there's lines at these places, and some of them are still open for you in KG and O-Town, Jackson. And then they would spot the bachelorette parties. And they would already have a table with hashtag bottle service. And the bachelorette parties understand the program, and my compadres with the cash understand the program. And so a subconscious transaction is enacted that if we get the table and you join us, that doesn't mean that people are going to be engaging in anal or oral. Right. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean you're going to be hanging out. And once you are in that area, and people are, good chance, doing key bumps, perhaps X, it's conducive to somebody engaging in coitus at one point or another. And usually, let's say there's 10 friends of mine and there's 10 lasses on the bachelorette party, over-under is 3.5 at that moment will engage in swapping bodily fluids. There it is. There's essentially how it works out.
But how you laid that out, you got the club. You may need to do a pool in the afternoon. You're talking maybe a dinner. Just depending on the situation.
The pool in the afternoon is a high-risk thing. I've seen Rick come out. Rick has a little trouble with alcohol tolerance. And if Rick gets a couple boat drinks in him at 3 in the afternoon, Rick might not see 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I don't think that will necessarily be the play. I don't know if there are a lot of hookups. I feel like there's foundation laid at those afternoon sessions. I'm sure there are some hookups.
Just chats.
I do agree with the foundation laying.
Yeah, the foundation laying.
It's like you meet somebody, hey, where are you going tonight? And it's like, oh, I'm going to this club. All right, I'll meet you there. And then you convert. If you're over the pole, straight out of the pool.
Yeah, I just don't know. But I mean, at the same time, what the hell would I know? And even there was the website, thedirty.com, but we can hear somebody urinating with the sickest flow. Hey, KG, can you hear that in the Seckman Studios on your side?
Hold on.
No, it just stopped.
No, I couldn't hear anything at the time.
I wonder if it's Rafe. I mean, I know Rafe was one of them.
It is not.
Interesting. I like playing Guess Who's Urinating. I wonder if we can get that sponsored.
Segment.
Yeah.
So there's a website called thedirty.com. It's actually where Timberfake's name came from.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Nick Ritchie.
Nick Ritchie, friend of the show. He was friends with Mark Mulder. And that's how I kind of got to know him. And then people would send in pictures from St. Louis, which really fascinated him because of the quote-unquote scene in the mid-2000s. And he had 2 lasses, and I can't remember their names. I think one was called Alien, and one was called Leopard or something like that. I bet some of you now in your 40s may remember this. This was around 2008.
Leopard.
I really do. I really do think it was Leopard and Alien, and I actually have them on my phone. Still pictures from 2008 in our cabana at the Hard Rock Hotel. May it rest in peace. We were out there to play. Like 5 or 6 of us were playing the World Series of Poker main event. Somehow Leopard and Alien wind up in the cabana, and I have pictures of them, and they're drinking champagne out of each other's asses.
Hot.
And also performing what I think you young tykes would call now analingus in the cabana.
Yeah.
This was going on. It was just like, it was a standard, and everybody else is kind of sitting around drinking, and this is going on in the cabana, and I'm going, oh, look, Leopard and Alien. I really do feel good about that. I think one's right. I'd bet heavily on one being right.
I sure hope it's Leopard.
Leopard and Alien, I feel like it. Just bouncing around in our cabana. I don't even know how they got there. That was also the same trip Andy Dick wound up in producer Joe's bed.
And there was something about allergies, and then you wake up and Andy Dick's bouncing around. Then
Well,
you're
Joe
like,
had a roommate, in fairness, and according to Joe, and I do believe Joe, I mean, here's a man who's very transparent with his landing strip. His roommate brought Andy Dick up to the room.
no, and I get that. I just imagine.
Mickey, do you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe it's the case.
Joe's not gay. He's not going to ask Andy Dick to come to his room when he's been bopping around in a banana hammock all day.
Here's where my thing is you have a problem with allergies, you take medicine and you go to bed and you wake up and Andy Dick is not only in your room but bouncing around with your roommate. You would think, oh, I was given some sort of peyote and not allergy medicine because what is going on? And then you turn and rear and leave, I assume.
No, look, I'm not saying it's 100% you're going to hook up with a 10 that looks like Holly Saunders. But, I mean, if you want to get laid, there are going to be drunk girls, just sloppy drunk. That would be very easy to get back to your room.
Right. And
There'll be tons of those.
You think they want a piece of Rick.
Well, they won't know who you are. They won't even be able to recognize you. They'll be so drunk.
Wow, that's a shot at balloon party.
For real. Yeah, they'll see me on Radio Row at 5 a.m. and they'll say, now that's a piece of man I want.
Is there a chance, and this would be just for me, that you just bring a Speedo, go to the pool, take a picture, and say, this is for you, Jamie Rivers?
Nope, I've learned better. I've learned better to engage in such activities.
Jamie doesn't mind wearing one and putting it on Facebook.
Yeah, Jamie also is an ex-NHL enforcer. I feel like that gives him some sort of credibility in terms of the on the masculinity scale, whereas as me, someone who's pale as the day is long and just kind of got a real slightly post-pubescent body, it's not going to really work. Personally, I don't see it necessarily resonating like it does with James.
I really am surprised. I mean, for real, just two guys who are single in Las Vegas with kind of nothing to do. I know you have to get up and sit on hold 2 days, but I'm really surprised. Like, I think I'd be betting on you.
And I appreciate that.
I really do.
But you've lost action before on betting on me.
What
to
did I
engage.
lose on?
Well, in Jamaica,
But you don't try.
That's not true.
Look at that. Iggy's telling you about not trying. I mean, if anybody would know.
What did you try in Jamaica?
Straight from the horse's mouth.
You got C-blocked one night, but what were you trying in Jamaica?
I was just, I was wheeling and dealing, baby.
Were you?
I do feel like he was trying.
I was wheeling and dealing.
I actually do feel like he was
No, I
trying.
didn't hang out with you much at night, but...
Yeah, you retired to your chamber somewhat early.
So I.
I'm tired.
And would yell down at divorcees as they passed.
I almost had one.
Like it was before dinner and Iggy was gone. The cigarette smoke had trailed off into the horizon.
My concern is that with this being Rick's first Vegas trip, he won't recognize the Vegas hooker signs. That's from Clevey Wade.
I'm gonna be really prudent. Like I'm just gonna be very proactive in keeping an eye out for that because
I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know. I mean,
would think
I
it would
suppose
be.
I'm not a veteran of prostitution. Buddy of mine digitally stimulated a hooker in the booth at Mr. Lucky's, which struck me as an odd transaction. If you really take a step back for as Mike Claiborne would say, a number of reasons.
Sounds like the beginning of a memoir.
Yeah, just like, what wound up happening with the hooker? And he goes, well, so-and-so wound up, playing Hey Diddle Diddle in the booth. I thought, wow, what a strange thing. I assume she didn't charge you for that because, like, she's if we're running a P&L, you've got the expense and she's got the revenue. But listen, you know what we don't do on this show? Kink shame.
We do not, Tim.
What we do on this show is we celebrate the wonderful sponsors, and you can send in emails for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. Holy moly. Iggy, we were talking about it on our way right before the program. Been doing this program now for 19 years. Maybe it's happened. But whether I was living on Washington Avenue or where I've lived now for the last decade, opening up the door of my chambers and seeing the windows looking like a sauna at 5:30 in the morning, I don't recall ever seeing it. It's had to have happened, but for some reason, this is standing out to me as unique. These conditions are penal for the players, and if you run into an air conditioning situation, Orson Woodwacko did yesterday. He did again. I feel like he had it happen a month or so ago. And Seth Goldcamp was on top of it. Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling and his wonderful staff. If you run into an air conditioning problem, sweet mother of mercy, go to designairservice.com and they will be out there quick, fast, in a hurry, even with as hot as it is. I thought we were going to dodge a bullet yesterday because it was cloudy, but I stepped outside around 5 o'clock. So I was like, I think maybe I'll go up to Family Golf, and I'm going, oh my God, I don't know.
It was a sauna.
I don't think I can do it.
No, it doesn't matter with the sun because humidity is so high.
Oh, it's
insane, dude.
I mean, I usually smoke in my bathroom when it's too cold outside.
You smoked your
I couldn't
bathroom?
step outside yesterday. I mean, it's like it hits you and my glasses fog up, and so I was going to go outside before I went to bed to smoke one like 9:30, and it was 91 degrees.
Oh my God.
91, and the heat index was 107 at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, the humidity is just brutal. So yeah, check on your pets and elderly.
Amen.
And your AC.
And if you run into a problem, you go to designairservice.com. That's Design Air Heating and Cooling. Jackson, you're going to Las Vegas. You're going to Circa, brother. You and KG and O-Town at Circa. In about 26 hours, you'll be ponied up.
I can't wait. It's
Wait till
really,
you see that sports book. Forget about it.
I can't wait. And you know, the high when we're out there the entire time will be like 83 degrees.
Is that right? The high in Las Vegas in August?
Yeah, is in the 80s.
I don't know what it's going to be like at night. Let me take a gander.
The
see
whole
what's
time
doing.
we're going to be out there, it's going to be in the 80s. Yeah, we're going to be out at Circa Sportsbook. And if you're heading out there here before the football season gets underway, let me suggest 2 major contests they got going on right now at Circa Sportsbook with $14 million in guaranteed prizes. First up, Circa Million, $6 million in guaranteed prizes. It's $1,000 per entry, max of 5 entries per person. You must register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, where KG and O-Town and I will be tomorrow. Pick 5 teams against the spread every week. Winner takes home $1 million. They also have the Circa Survivor Pool with $8 million guaranteed to the winner or winners, $1,000 per entry, max of 10 entries per person. Pick 1 team straight up every week to win. If the team loses or ties, the entry is eliminated. You can only pick each team once in the season. Go 20-0 or be the last person standing to win. This is all available over at Circa Sportsbooks, and weekly picks can be made through a proxy that register with from anywhere. $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Go check it out, just like KG and O-Town and I will be doing tomorrow.
There it is. It is Circa Sportsbook. New sponsor here on TMA. We welcome them aboard, just like Michelob Ultra is the sponsor of the J. Randolph Jr. Fan Page Club Championship. Dogtown Ty, Kevin Roth, when are you boys playing? I assume you're not playing this week.
Yeah, I
in
wouldn't
these
play this week.
conditions. I'm legitimately curious about that one. Usually I feel like, kind of had a feeling Dogtown Ty was live to beat Gee. I have no idea on this one. I haven't seen either one of them play, but they're about even, and all I know is both have been Kingslayers this year.
Boy, howdy.
I'm telling you.
Well, let me know. DM me.
You will be there.
One of you two. I'll go out. Yeah, I'll bring the trophy out. I want to watch that match. It's going to be a good match. Now, next week, I mean, after Saturday, I've never seen a change like this. I mean, you got 5 straight days of 115 heat index. Saturday, sunny and 83 with a low of 69.
Oh, pony.
So back to normal on Saturday.
Nice, there it is. In Jackson, I'm seeing temperatures of 90, 95, 93, 97, and 101 over the next 4 days.
When I looked yesterday, it said 83, 84 was going to be the high. This is on Apple weather.
Yeah, that's your mistake. What's amazing, when I lived in Reno, you would have days it would be 89, 90 degrees in the day, and at night it'd be like 42.
Yeah, desert's crazy.
You would go
like
from air conditioner to heat at night.
Maybe it's changed over. I looked yesterday, and that's what I heard.
95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. It's Michelob Ultra Studio sponsor here on TMA. Get involved by texting in 314-881-TMA5. That is the EDF group text inbox. Call in 636-9004-TMA. I actually see somebody on hold. That's a stunning thing. Plowhawk, who is that?
Somebody's on with KG right now.
KG's just doing his own thing back there like producer Joe used to.
Has
Mitch
a
in the
red
morning.
slash through it, meaning he is currently talking to
Ooh, I'm going to go Stephen Wildwood.
Boys, we got a live one.
Who we got?
Tucker.
Tucker?
Really?
Tucker, line 1.
Oh,
Announcing that he's Tucker.
God. Tucker, good morning. Welcome to the program.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Wonderful. Jackson, who goes by Rick when he gets a little booze in his system, and KG and O-Town are heading to Las Vegas in 24 hours. I'm sure you can provide some tips.
Well, I heard you guys were going out there. That's wild. And I'd had a drought, Tim, in lesbianism viewings until last Friday.
What happened?
The well opened up. It opened up. We, I'll start where I start here. went out to Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Little League World Series.
Hotbed of lesbian activity.
I went to the Little League World Series last week, and there were quite a few what I would not call lipstick lesbian couples there with their children who were playing and stuff. And, like, I'll tell you what, there is a scene there. Between the moms that are the softball lesies, and then you got, you know, a lot of softball players out there, too. I don't know what's going on at the barracks or wherever they stay, but I bet it was wild. That was just the appetizer, though. So I drive back to Baltimore to fly home because Williamsport is in the middle of nowhere, and I mean nowhere. And I drive back to Baltimore, and I said, it's a late night. I'm going to sit at the bar, get a drink, get a bite to eat before my flight back to St. Louis in the morning. And it's a rowdy scene in the Hilton BWI. Very nice hotel, very nice bar. We're sitting in there. There's these two gals, and they're coworkers, right? But one of them is definitely hardcore lipstick lesbian, right?
Now, how can you tell?
Well, hold on, I'll get to that.
Okay.
But I'll just tell you, before I knew she was into the carpet, she was hot, right? Like, hot. So then there's this convention there, and I don't know what they were selling, dental equipment or something. I have no idea. But it's getting rowdy in there. And these guys start hearing her talk, and they just start quizzing her about lesbian stuff, right? And she is telling them everything. Everything. And I'm sitting, like, catty corner on the bar to this group. So I'm hearing it all. I'm eavesdropping the entire conversation. And they asked her about the thing that rhymes with misting. They asked her about that. She said that she doesn't enjoy it, but she's done it 2 or 3 times, mostly in college. She said it tends to hurt pretty bad, and she's never had a kid, but she thinks it would be the closest thing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that feedback from anyone.
No, I haven't. Iggy, ever heard anything of that?
Doug's kind of the authority in that department.
Yeah, he's out today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. I wish Doug could talk about that. I know he's big into the balling up your hand, and I won't get you in any trouble.
Right.
But then they did ask about scissoring, right? So this part was interesting. She said that there's many girls she's been with that it's a huge, huge, huge turn on for her, but she doesn't get off on it. And she was talking about it real graphically. I mean, including the secretion and everything else that goes with it. And I just sat there like a kid in a candy store. And I'll tell you what, it's a good thing I was under the bar, if you know what I mean. My legs were down there because, yeah, I was a little excited.
Wow. Did you wind up engaging with these lasses for the less popular MFF?
No, I got my wife and kids. I don't do any of that stuff, Tim. But but I did jump in the conversation at a certain after I'd had a few cocktails. I was all in the conversation.
You gave your 2 cents.
she had a lot to say, man. The cool thing is like, I think she saw herself as like an ambassador of hot lesies, right? So like, she just wanted to tell everything. Like, she did not want to hold back. So she was talking about. She said that they have a thing. She's from Pennsylvania, and I guess they have a thing called Fountains of Wayne in the lesbian community. And I'll let you guys use your imagination for what that means. But I think it's a pun off the band Fountains of Wayne that had the hit Stacy's Mom.
Stacy's Mom, sure.
And you know the other fact about them, Tim? You're usually good with this stuff.
I'm not familiar with anything other than Stacy's Mom, Tucker.
They were the band that sings all the songs in the Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do. So there you go.
Oh, is that right? That is a nice little fun fact. Jackson, good or bad?
I've never seen that film.
Good. But Jackson, I doubt you were born in the fall of '96 when it came out.
I've seen a lot of '90s movies, so that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Have you seen Son-in-Law?
Nope.
Wow, Tim, you got to work on your guy.
Yeah, Rick's going to have a big 4 days here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do a boot camp on 90s films after he's enjoyed the pleasures of Las Vegas.
Seen most of the big ones. The thing you do is 2.5 hours.
Jackson, I want you to really enjoy the pleasures of Las Vegas.
I'm open to, man.
No, I mean, like, you know what I mean. I don't mean, like, going and sitting with a bunch of dudes in a little cocktail lounge at the Aria. I mean, like, the pleasures of Las Vegas. Like, the people that snap the cards on the strip. That's the kind of pleasures I want you into.
Well,
Negative EV, by the way.
Yeah, I just don't see the
Yeah,
upside.
but moments you can
treasure forever.
I'm not
remember and
hurting
live
that
forever.
bad. It's not necessarily something I don't want to make that transaction.
What is one thing you want to make sure you do, especially with Tucker on the line here? This guy's seen and done it all.
In Vegas?
Yeah, one thing I mean, what is the thing that you're not going to get back on that plane Saturday morning without having done?
Get some idea of what the pool party scene is like in Vegas. I definitely want to do that.
Which one are you guys going to go to then?
That's a good question, Tim. I guess we're kind of scour and figure it out, you know.
It's not the.
I would say probably Wynn Encore.
Okay.
That would probably be your best.
It's not
play.
the Hard Rock anymore, but whatever they changed that into.
It's the Virgin.
Their pool is pretty
So
cool.
the Hard Rock
Really?
is the Mirage now.
It's like a little island.
And,
So they have changed. When I was there in May, they hadn't switched it over yet, but I know they were about to.
Yeah, so they're building. They tore down where all the fountains were. I was just there about a week ago. They tore down where all the fountains were, and they're building their, signature guitar hotel, like right there on the Strip. But Jackson, if you're looking for those batchy parties, man, I'll tell you where you got to go. Is that Chandelier Lounge? over
Oh,
in
Cosmopolitan. That's a nice play, Tucker. This
that
guy
a
knows his
play?
stuff. That's a nice play.
That's fine. I mean, they all go there, and they're in their obnoxious costumes. They've just come from dinner, right? They're all looped up. They're all horny as hell. That's where you need to be, is in the Chandelier Lounge.
I think
and
he's
drinks
right.
are only like $22 there for a cocktail.
Yeah,
which
it's
is some,
reasonable.
it's actually not bad. Now, so I know
Cool, if I
you're
bring
down
shooters.
closer to downtown, but you're not going to find that same talent downtown. You'll get the Nashville bachelorette parties downtown. That's what you pick up down there, like the
Nothing wrong
the
with
ones
that.
that are coming. You get the ones that are coming from Omaha. Whereas if you go out to Chandelier, a lot of times you're going to get the Northwest, the Seattles, the
LA.
Scottsdales, the LA bachelorette parties.
All right.
That's really the primary difference between the two.
I think he's right on the Chandelier Bar. I think that actually is the play. Because then it's not a club.
Yeah.
You're not looking for the club thing.
Right.
Chandelier Bar, I think Tucker's right on target. This guy knows what he's talking
Do I
about.
wear a scarf?
Ascot.
I probably wouldn't. You know what seems to get the girls out in Vegas is tattoos. So maybe go and get like some of those good-looking temporaries, and maybe have it just peeking out of the collar of your, piqué polo, just peeking out, right? So it looks like you're a little bit dangerous.
That's old money. Temporary
And
tattoos at the
wouldn't
Chandelier
shy away
Lounge.
I wouldn't shy away from sunglasses either. I really
Inside?
wouldn't.
I like that move. People call people douches for that. I think it's a great
You
move.
think is that what you're going to go with in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I might do that.
I'd be careful.
Paige Sporanic did it, so why can't I?
The one thing you have to be careful of, I know you guys got some per diem, but you go into these bars and you order a couple beers and a cocktail. Next thing you know, you get your bill. It's like $190.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be these bachelorette parties are going to come from tons of money. They'll be hooking him up. Then once he gets in with them and he's got maybe like a toothpick in the mouth.
Yeah, I like that with the sunglasses, yeah.
And like
Cigarettes rolled up
like
in my
a
sleeve.
Guayavera shirt, like a button-down Guayavera short sleeve, something like that.
I got
I
that.
think the gals they'll be wanting to drink you at that point.
They're gonna wanna drink you up.
Long pants, too.
Are you in long pant?
Always. When you go out, you can't wear shorts.
Yeah, no, Vegas, Memphis is for shorts. Vegas is for pants. I agree.
Cut off. I believe that's a bumper sticker.
Memphis and
Tucker,
Bellagio.
wonderful to hear from you. Thank you for the stories of lesbianism at the Little League World Series.
It's great talking to you, boys. Have a good one.
There he is, Tucker, calling in lesbianism at the Little League World Series. So I guess I'll have the family vacation there next year. And the Chandelier Bar, actually, I don't know why I hadn't thought of it, but that is the correct answer. I have had many cocktails there, and it is a bachelorette party hotbed. And the bachelorette party is, from my standpoint, for you, if you are on a quest, and I'm not sure you're on a quest for the record. I'm calling. I'm going to see what happens on the turn in the river. But if you are on a quest, Chandelier Bar is the place. No question, because that's the bachelorette party play. And the bachelorette party has the Randy single girl. Sometimes the wedding party is looking for fun. And then you have a couple of ladies who have been married for a while, and they're not going to tell you. So you're not going to knowingly, do what Iggy sometimes will do.
Violate wedding vows.
Right. But they'll be violating the wedding vows, and they're looking to do so.
Right.
They're a little bored at home. The batteries on the Hitachi Magic Wand have run out.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a 25-year-old HD2 guy.
Yeah, they've been
And a guy who does an hour on middays on 101 ESPN.
Right. They've been eating buffalo wings for 10 years. They want to try a little bit of barbecue.
That's right.
And
That's where you come into play.
Yeah, I got nothing wrong with that. And what they choose to do with their lives is their business.
So you're pro-infidelity?
No.
Oh.
I'm pro exploration. I'm pro.
Is it the same thing?
Well, as long as there's clear messaging.
It seems like you're trying to morally reason through what you're about to do.
Well, I'm not going to run up the flagpole, but so is this? It's not a club necessarily, but more of like a.
It's a glamorous Las Vegas bar with a huge chandelier, and the chandelier is so large, I think it's 3 levels, if memory serves, at the Cosmopolitan.
I am a big fan of
a nice chandelier.
I truly, yeah, and I really want to go see the fountains at the Bellagio.
I don't think that's going to do much for you.
Well,
kind of boring after the first 2 minutes.
Well, I'll get my Ocean's 11 on.
Yeah, maybe it is 1%. KG in O-Town, how do you feel about the Chandelier Bar? I think Tucker might have pointed you boys in the right direction.
I think that's a strong play.
Yeah,
I like
do.
where his head's at.
Yeah. Because unless you guys are willing to like dabble in the narcotics thing, and maybe you are, and hey, it doesn't impact me one way or the
Keep
other.
you in contact.
Yeah, I mean, Plowhawk will have your outlets. That's more what you're going to get when you're at the,
Right.
excesses and
Tao.
I guess that's where we had the Division I soccer program from the Pac-12 with the girl who pleasured herself in the corner while the bride and the maid of honor engaged in the less popular MFF with my buddy.
Yeah,
and then she broke in and sat in the corner and played Hey Diddle Diddle, which was alarming to him.
Yeah.
I would have focused on the fact, because I recall seeing the bride and the maid of honor, A, that they were engaging in lesbianism, candidly surprising, but wonderful, and B, beautiful women. And so what? You have a husky gal in the corner pleasuring herself. So what? I've had a guy in my slide into my office chair and beat off, and I carried on.
Yeah, I think I honestly would welcome that situation.
You'd like a husky gal pleasuring herself in the corner.
If I was engaging in the less popular,
Right.
yeah, I'd be open to anybody, really.
What if it was KG in O-Town?
Walked
And
in.
you look over there, and it was kind of like Charlie Murphy in the Chappelle Show Real World, where he's watching Chad and his girlfriend.
Like, what's he doing? Like, sitting
pleasuring
there?
himself.
Got my phone out recording.
What's
Yeah,
the
that's a
hooker
big old
stitch
no.
at the Chandelier, you think?
Clip that off.
You're asking me.
No,
I've
Tim.
never been to the.
Tim said he's been there.
I have been there many times. Actually, I'm kind of surprised we didn't go there. But like I said, we went to bed like at 10 o'clock when we were there in Memorial Day. That's midnight Central Time, though. I want that on the record. I don't know. I don't know.
Because you're going to have that situation.
The hookers come out at like 1, and then they sit at the hotel bars.
Depending on the convention is in town.
And they play a lot of video poker.
That's
Video P.
Video P.
It's really hot.
I see that.
Well, they're just killing time.
What if
And
Maddie
then
Craig?
sometimes they're so well known to the bar staff and security that they have to chase them off, like I do with flies in the house. And you'll be able to spot them, assuming you boys are out. I don't know what the situation is. I mean, all hotels have them. It's not like one hotel's like, we're pro hooker. They just roll in.
Right.
Like I said, though, I don't know about the whole thing with digitally stimulating a hooker
Yeah.
in a 24/7 greasy spoon. But my buddy was into it. And again, we don't kink shame here. Maybe on Balloon Party I'd mock that, but not on this show.
No, I'd be really interested to know if he paid anything there, because if he did, I'd really feel bad for him. That's a bad beat. If you're only going to go one side of the party.
I mean, what a strange deal. No, she was. I can recall
Sometimes
she
they
was
waste your time. They sit there at the bar and they talk to you. They're very sexy. They're dirty talk. They get a couple drinks. Let's go up to your room. You get up to the room, and then they start talking price. Why don't you just tell me down at the bar? You wasted time there.
You've been to Vegas a lot. Iggy. What would be your suggestion? Like, what would be your?
Sounds like a first-hand account, I have to tell you. If I'm picking up a read.
No, a buddy of mine did. He
Right.
came back. He came
What's
back
the
and
text name? A buddy of mine.
A buddy named Ken.
He came back and said she's a hooker. I said, well, you didn't know that off the bat. I thought you were going to go up and pay her. He said, no, I didn't know she's a hooker. I thought she wanted me. Yeah, it's a gorgeous girl in a dress is going to sit there and chat you up at the bar.
Text me and I'll talk dirty to you.
No, I'm more laid back when I go. I like kind of like. I mean, we had a chance to go to many bars when Biff and I were down in the last couple of years. I just like hanging at the Circle Bar. You know, it's kind of.
It's no longer there.
Yeah, it's a nice little bar and always people there, and you weren't elbow to elbow, and you make a turn and you knock into 9 people. It's, it wasn't stuffy. It's out in the open. So it just depends what you're looking for. I mean, there's gonna be girls everywhere, so.
There's going to be a lot of bachelorette parties on a Thursday.
I think you'll probably start seeing some on Thursday. Friday's going to be a big night for you.
Yeah, that's.
You don't have to get up and do the show.
Got to get up and fly home.
What time is the wake-up call?
Probably in the 5 region because I got
7 Central.
Yeah, it's a 7 o'clock flight. 7:30, I think, back to St. Louis, or 7:10 or something back to St. Louis. So early wake up every single day I'm out there. So,
Tim, where do you find the beefy goaltenders who fiddle themselves in the corner love seat? That's from the Birthday Hawk. This was a group of lasses who played soccer, Pac-12 University, bachelorette party. Buddy of mine, the governor, had just won like $65,000 in the World Series of Poker main event. No, different governor. A lot of governors. And so we flew out there, met him. We're at Tao. This is 2007. So I don't know if Tao's still around. And
I think it is.
Yeah, really? Look at that, going strong.
People I know go out there. I see pictures from there.
So my compadre did his standard move, which is he found the bachelorette party in the line. These are some very nice ones, but they did have one who was a little, probably didn't play. Maybe she had a knee injury. I don't know. Right. Either way, wasn't burning calories at the same rate. Sure. But she did burn calories around 4 in the morning when she played Hey Diddle Diddle. And it caught my compadre off guard. And yeah, maybe for a second I'd go, oh, wow, look what's doing over there. But then I'd go back to the 2 beautiful lasses. I think one was a forward and one was a midfielder. Mm-hmm. But one also was the bride and one was the maid of honor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how about that? Wow. I mean, isn't that a whole thing?
You'd have to think.
And I remember the next morning we were having breakfast or lunch or whatever the hell we were at Mr. Lucky's. Different time than when my buddy had digitally stimulated the prostitute in the booth. Different booth,
hopefully
I think.
Different booth.
I think it was a different booth. But it was 4 years apart. And he goes, you know what? I don't really feel bad about it at all. And I said, I don't feel bad about you. What I feel bad about is here's a gentleman who's about to take this lady's hand, and she was engaging with you, and then the girl who's going to give the witty little speech right after the ceremony.
It's a real moral quagmire, but at the end of the day, the onus isn't on your friend.
It's not, Jackson, nor will it be on you.
Sure, but it's still, and to be fair to the bride in question, maybe there was a hall pass given saying, hey, it's our last time before we're going to be together forever.
No. Those are fake. No couples are giving hall passes. The one giving the hall pass has already cheated on their significant other.
Oh, it's a guilt pass?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's not, I'm comfortable in our relationship, you can go cheat. It's, well, I just cheated 2 months ago. Now I feel like it's obligation that he gets to as well.
More debit, less credit.
I'm going to paint it as a hall pass when really it's just like I'm guilty.
Tim, how disappointed in Rick would you be if he comes back from Vegas and you say, so what was the highlight of the trip? Thursday night we went over to Luxor and saw Carrot Top.
Oh, he would never do it. It's not even in the range of outcomes.
Yeah, because I had to pay for that ticket. I have no interest in seeing
I don't even know if the Luxor is still there. I feel like that's one that'll be going away soon.
I've stayed at it. It's still there.
Pretty nice.
High end.
It must be.
Well, it's cheap, and that's how they get you. It's cheap as hell.
Yeah, it was just
it's location-wise. I don't know if it's as
it's right to the south of Mandalay Bay.
Yeah, the location is not ideal. That's
right across from the Death Star, though, Jackson. If you want to go out there and see,
yeah, less interested in it. I want to see
the Garoppolo.
I want to see the Sphere. That's for sure. But I hear the line to see that is like 3 hours long. So maybe I'll just see it from a distance.
That was just a hypothetical. If you did something like that and that was the highlight, you went and saw Wayne Newton over at the Caesars or something.
But like, there's an extremely high possibility that I come back with no titillating stories and stuff like that. Like, just prepare. Don't be like, whoa, Jackson, when I come back and I haven't been at a wedding party.
Guys, didn't Plowsy give a hall pass to an old girlfriend when she could go to a military base? That's from Mr. I don't think it was a hall pass, but you tell me, Plowhawk.
No, it's just I rolled with this army base joke. She hung out with one of her friends who was in the army, and she was on leave. And then all of a sudden, she's at an army barracks, just getting plied. Whatever. It was easier to ignore it, honestly, than it was.
Both of us have lost girls to army bases.
Yours definitely.
Yours is a naval base.
Wasn't it a whole weekend?
It's a whole trip.
Back, yeah, she came back like the last day.
After the first night she got there, we hung at the pool with all my mates.
All my mates?
Went up to bed, and after like 2 seconds, I got a yeast infection.
Oh, so hot.
Yeah, and then the next day, she's on the beach and at the naval base.
You know those army guys.
Came back for her luggage, and that was it.
And you flew her out there?
Yeah, well, she's a stripper. What do you expect?
Young Jackson, my advice, and let me be clear, this comes from a friend of mine who theoretically went to Brown. Let's just call him Schmenz Schroed. Likes to chat up hookers at bars that are no longer there. I like to talk dirty to them and give them the idea I have money. And then what I like to do is turn the heat up by telling them I have to ask my very dumb father for my allowance before I can afford their services. Thanks, that comes from a friend of mine.
Well, I've never been with a hooker, so.
Never once. 500 and all done gratis.
Yeah, I've never been with a hooker. I've dated some strippers.
Hookers, yeah, because that would be, I feel like that's a contradiction.
Stripper, yeah, I'm sure they're dabbling.
No, but that's different.
That's not fair to the stripper community.
No, it's not. And we are a
pro-stripper show.
Advocates for strippers in and around the St. Louis area.
I got lucky because the two that I dated were normal. They weren't like strung out on drugs or,
Oh, they're early into their hooker days.
Yeah, I mean, we take it off work, go home. They were normal. We go out to the zoo and do stuff during the day, and
you take a stripper to the zoo.
Who wants to be the zoo visiting stripper in the
I'm just saying.
This is like a quasi
normal
special.
Normal girlfriend. They weren't like up at 8 o'clock doing rails, and they'd get done with work. They know it's a lot of money, and they're done.
I mean, if I'm a stripper, I'm gonna be incoherent 90% of my day. No way I want to talk to Jimmy the salesman who's like 50 on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm definitely doing
Jimmy
drugs.
The salesman.
I'm more concerned if the strippers are sober.
Than
if they are if they're strung out, because then I kind of understand.
They cost themselves money though, because when we'd go in, they would always hang out at our table. And I said, "You don't have to do that. I know you're trying to make money. I mean, you can go do some lap dances. You're not going to bother me." She goes, "These old men." I said, well, "I just make my money on the pole."
Guys, this just happened on your show. I've never paid a hooker, but I've dated them. That came from Ken.
No, I said I dated strippers.
Who are, in theory, like hired hookers, right?
Yeah, just no
Depending on the strip club.
Loomster says, I remember Jennings telling a pretty enthralling Iggy with a hooker story.
No, that was...
He had to pay?
That was
he had to go to the ATM after hours?
If you listen to the story, we were at a strip club. And I got drunk, and I was one of the fools that, like all these guys, think because she talked to you and sat at your table and sat on your lap 5 times that she likes you. No, we're going to breakfast. She'll be here.
The zoo? You take strippers to the zoo? How old were they? That's from Chairman Steve in Wildwood.
What do you care? What, you never been to the zoo? You was a certain age before you can go to the zoo?
I find that to be a funny conversation. Like you're in Washington Park going to a strip club, and then 7 hours later you're in Forest Park looking at the giraffes.
Well, I mean, I was dating her, so it's not like
that's fair.
we just left the strip club and went home and she left. No, and I took one of them to the zoo one time. The Philippine girl I was dating. She was a stripper. God, she was gorgeous. We went to the zoo one day.
The zoo's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't go to that penguin area, man. It smells so bad.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I won't be going to any strip clubs in Las Vegas.
I love hearing you say that.
Wow, there it is. A declaration in advance. Fun to hear.
It's just not my scene. It's not my scene. I'm not a strip club guy.
I went to one in Springfield, Illinois, Deja Vu, on my birthday. D-Dub picked me up from junior college and brought me there. It was so bad. And I'm glad my first experience was so bad that you could just eliminate that going forward.
The thing is that for a period of time in St. Louis, and I think a number of you, Jackson, you can't speak to this, and Iggy, I think it probably predates you, so you got to be in that 30-something, 40-something range. At around 2:30 in the morning when bars were closing, if you wanted to keep going, not because you were doing junk, but just you wanted to keep having booze, the place to go, if you were downtown in particular, but I sometimes would come from Clayton and go, was to go to the Stag Bar. So it was not necessarily like, I'm going to the Stag Bar and hoping to get dry humped. It was the place to continue your evening of cocktails. And then you would leave with one of those delicious burgers that were barbecued in the parking lot.
And 2 of them are still there. If you don't want to go to strip clubs in the East Side, Oz is still there. And
Jackson Oz is there if you want.
Where we would always go, and Pops is open till all night, I guess.
P.O.P.S., P.O.P.S., Pops.
And there's a couple of gay bars that are open, so.
And there's that, too, if you want to try that.
That's where we'd go, Faces.
Yeah, there's a couple bars close to me that
specials.
are open until 3 a.m. and I can't drink much after 3 a.m. That's about time to shut it down for me.
Well, it's going to be 1 a.m. in Las Vegas. Just going on, you got to keep this in mind.
Right? Yeah, my body will be thinking one way. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'll be having booze and I'll be chilling, but I don't think I'll be heading to the strip clubs just because this is not my scene. And also, like, that money could be spent elsewhere, like on alcohol.
I met a stripper at the Hustler Club, and then I took her to Chuck E. Cheese for a nice lunch. That's from Angel of the morning after.
Good for you.
Now, let's say I go on a real hot streak in blackjack. Like, I run it up.
And what would that be?
Like, let's say I bring $250 to the table.
But this is so unrelatable.
Yeah. This is something people can't fathom. I take $250 to the table, and I leave with $1,250.
Okay, so you've netted $1,000. This is wonderful.
Now
you go in a strip club then?
Go get a hooker.
No, not a strip club or a hooker. But I just feel like I'll have that. That will be like the fuel I need, and the self-confidence flies through the roof, and then I'm buying drinks. And I turn
Look at you all of a sudden. Look at this
I turn
guy.
into the chairman of the board.
Liquid Rick.
Liquid Rick.
Because that's found money. You got to parlay.
So now you're going to go to the Stag Bar?
Right. Well, I take half of that and put that on Mizzou over. And just take care of that.
Good.
Take care of that, and take the other half, and I parlay that into a wonderful evening.
Are you turning this into
500 ain't going to get you very far.
National Lampoon Vacation, Vegas
Takes you a
Vacation.
half hour.
Nick Papagiorgio.
Yeah.
Slide whistles.
Like, let's say I create a game.
Hoover Dam.
Oh, you
Should I go to the Hoover Dam? Should I go to the Hoover Dam? You wanted me to go see the mole people, so I don't know.
Well, that would be content. Just like I want you to go see Heidi, and she'll tell you how to spot a hooker. So,
Like, am I doing a news package there?
no, you can have some fun with that.
Go to the mall, hit up the Cartier
Just
store.
make fun of them.
Get some glasses like Joe Burrow.
Why are you living down here?
The mole people.
Yeah, that's the starter question.
Right.
I'm just imagining Ken trying to let a monkey lick an ice cream cone over a rail while his $10 hooker inexplicably is taken on a date, is smoking a Marlboro behind him, working on booking that night's appointments. It's from Carlos Spicy Wiener, confused by the hooker at the zoo story.
Well, it was just a normal afternoon. My point is that hookers are just people.
Clip that up.
Or
Hookers are people.
Strippers are just
Oh.
people. Well, hookers do.
I would love to have been the fly on the wall.
It's not like we're getting up in the morning and she's gets a shot of Jack Daniels, starts stripping for me for money. I mean, she's
Well,
just a normal girl.
I also think the days of people stripping to pay their college debt is out.
No, I saw it in Columbia. I can tell you.
I feel like if you're stripping, you're in it to win it, and you have no other option there.
No, there was the awkward moment when we said at the fraternity we would always, for one night before the young ones, the pledges would start, we would all go to the strip club.
All right, Club Vogue.
That's exactly where we went, Tim. And I saw a girl stripping, and then the next day I saw her in microeconomics, and that was it was fun. I was like, good for you. Go off, queen.
Go off, queen.
Get your
That's
bread.
what you said.
I need Doug here to.
I think Gentle was.
I feel like I'm not closing the circuit.
Gentle was going to college, I think.
Yeah,
but I don't know if.
I think Biff knows what he's doing.
No, she stopped stripping. All she did is she lived off Biff.
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
She found what the nest egg is, finding a guy is like Biff, you know?
Jackson, you get your ass to a Stag Bar and find yourself a nice girlfriend like Orange Sherbert did. That's from Mr. Siders.
What's the Las Vegas Zoo situation looking like? I feel like inside the casinos, there's like quasi-zoos.
Those Vegas strippers aren't going to a zoo.
Tim, you're right. Once 3 a.m. hit at the Dubliner, the decision was go to the casino or go to the strip club. That's from Big Hoss. Yeah, that's the deal. Is that the case for you, your 25-year-old peers? It's 3 a.m. and are you boys, you, Oatmeal, Herb,
Right.
are you going, let's go to the Stag Bar?
No.
I mean, that was like the odd, it wasn't even a thing. And women would go, but it's not like they're like going, oh, we want to go engage in by curiosity. It's just where you went to keep drinking. The place was packed.
Sure.
You would see, at that time, you'd see members of the Blues, the Rams, but it wasn't like, oh my God, they're at the strip bar. Nobody really cared anyway, but it was just a place to drink late.
Yeah, we do not do that. No, if it's like, we're drinking, it's like we want to keep drinking. It's like bars are closing at 1. I mean, Nick's Pub's down the road. And
Nick's P.
And it's open till 3.
K.
Oh,
it's
Nick's
open till
Pub.
3 a.m. and that's right by my apartment. So that would more likely be the play. I mean, Ubers aren't cheap these days. So
Let me ask you
keep
guys
that in
something.
mind.
I'll take your question.
This is for the whole dais. Would you find it awkward if you were in this situation? When I got back from Bermuda, I was just bored, so I wanted to do something. So I went to work at the Pasta House in the Central West End. One of these waiters had a girlfriend that would come and meet us every night and have cocktails. She was probably 5'3", maybe weighed 100 pounds, if that, 90 pounds, but probably a 38 double D, and they were real. And she was the cutest thing you've ever seen. I was just enamored with this girl. And every night we go, oh, we're going to meet here, we're going to meet here. And it's not like she was hitting on me or we're flirting. It's just she was gorgeous. And one night he said, I haven't told anybody this, but she works over at PT's. Really? I just went over there one night just to see her naked.
Wow.
And he was there.
Was there a question for us?
Yeah, and he was there, and he saw. I didn't say, let's go see your. I didn't say, hey.
You got horny there.
I didn't say, hey, let's go see your girlfriend.
All of a sudden.
But when I found that out, I said, I just got to go over there one night and see her. And I did, and he was there. I didn't know it, and he comes up to the bar. He said, Eggs, hey. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was working. She goes, yeah, come over. We'll sit at her stage. And I had partied with this girl for like a month. And now I'm sitting there watching her spread eagle in front of me. Do I give her $1? I felt weird actually sitting with him looking at her.
It's kind of like an MMF.
Yeah, but not that. It's just that, I partied with the girl with all of her clothes on, and all of a sudden I showed up just to see her naked. And the boyfriend's there, and he invites me to the stage. And now I'm like putting $1 between her boobs.
Yeah.
After like 2 days earlier, we were having cocktails talking about whatever.
Cardinals 40 man.
So I actually was a little awkward.
Caller Ellen summarizing with 3 words what the Jackson, you can see the text inbox is moving very quick.
It's like a Vegas slot machine.
Says, nice story, Ken. But
Sorry, prude.
That's like a Kurt.
Well, it is a prude if you're making fun of me just going to a strip bar.
There's a moment like that in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Richard Lewis's girlfriend was dancing burlesque.
It's correct. That did happen.
And,
wow, great story. Sorry, hijacking disguised as a question to the dais. You sun-ripened possum. That's from Colts beat writer Brian Henshin. It's good to know you were just as creepy then as you are now. That's from Chairman Steve.
So you do find it creepy. That was my question.
Yeah, I don't ever feel like I ever got the question. Did we get the question?
If you were in my position, would you have been awkward or say, no, I don't care, I'm going to go to the stage and see her? I felt awkward sitting at the stage with her boyfriend.
Oh, I never heard the question. I heard the anecdote.
Well, that was the question. Would you? I felt weird. I
would feel weird.
Or would you feel, I don't care, I want to see her. That's great.
No,
I felt weird giving her $1.
Yeah, I'd feel weird. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know.
One single $1.
I just wanted to see her naked and see what her boobs look like. And now I'm at the
Imagine Iggy
stage giving her
just sliding
$1
that
with her boyfriend.
Crust dollar right on stage.
And nothing happened. They weren't swingers or anything. So
if I had a daughter, I would want her to be with Jackson, and that is why he won't get laid in Las Vegas. And I like that about him. That's from Chairman Steve in Wildwood. So that's a compliment.
Slightly backhanded, but I appreciate it.
But I think it's sincere. I think he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
I understand where he's coming from. I see that.
I'm admittedly not a one-night stand kind of guy.
Not an anal guy either.
Yeah, it's my 2 pillars. Core values. It's my 3rd, of course. Yeah, and going 2-14 with the Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I would say that I'm not a one-night stand kind of guy. So trips like these aren't really my bailiwick, and that's maybe something that I should open my mind more to and be more transparent wouldn't be the right word, but just kind of be more open to the idea of it. It's just not something I know I've had success with. And the only times I've had one-night stands were in college.
I just feel like you're going to get some libations in you.
Certainly.
And then there's going to be a bachelorette party, and then away we go. You're going to be like, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm feeling the energy.
Yeah.
First time, too.
Right. I'm going to go out there and I'll get
all of the lights.
Right. All of the lights, all of the lights.
Nice.
Shout out to Queen Bad Girl Riri for her 2nd child. But I would say that I just don't think that you're right. I will feel the energy, and maybe
KG No-Town's he's gonna pull you through it. That's what's gonna happen.
I hope so. He's my guy.
I usually rock with my boy Iggy, but that story / non-question was trash B. That's from Man-Child 79.
it wasn't meant to be a story. It was meant to be a question. Would you feel awkward if you were sitting at a stage with a girl you've been partying with her and her boyfriend? You work with the guy for a month, and all of a sudden you're sitting there spread eagle, asking for $1. And I look at the guy. That's beautiful. No, it's.
Yeah, I agree. It's awkward. No, I totally agree.
That was a question. It wasn't. I was showing off that I saw a naked girl.
I just wouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have shown up.
That's how most of you are thinking. God, I'd get to see a naked girl. I'd been sweating.
Guys, this was just said on your show. Tim, what was the question? Ken, the question is, I felt weird. Perfect. That's from Scooter.
Would you feel weird?
It's a question.
It was a question. Thanks, buddy.
You can give your thoughts, as many of you are doing, on your own. 314-881-TMA5, EDF group text inbox. Get involved, be a friend of the Feather. Call in like Tucker did, and you can do so 636-9004.
Can't win on this show.
You can't. I agree. You
the
can't.
morning after at InsideSTL.com. Munganess, the sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour. And yeah, it's 8:05, but we're still in it. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Say, are you in the market for a new car? Great. Go shopping right now. StLouisAcura.com, AltonToyota.com. Do you need to get your car fixed? And you're like, well, I didn't get my car from Munganess. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Jack. You just go. And you can get it taken care of with Jamie Burkhardt. You can get it taken care of with Clayton Patterson, Peter Munganess.
Curtis Hall took his car out there. He didn't buy it there. He took it there. He was having all kinds of trouble finding somebody to fix it. He came out to my signing day when I was selling cars. He talked to Clayton. He said, get it in here. Boom, took care of it.
Just like that. That's what they do. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota, the official automotive provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Also the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. And here's a secret number if you want to call or text and have any questions. 314-252-0029. That's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. I was going to go yesterday, but then I went outside and I go, oh my God. But Family Golf, I still think I might try to do it today. I don't know. Jackson, we got a sales meeting, 11:30, am I correct?
10:30,
Be
yeah.
peak heat.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I feel like I can handle it, but God almighty, it was rough yesterday. But either way, Family Golf and Learning Center is the place to go. And the thing is, you're going, well, hey, they got a simulator indoors. That's right. They have 2 of them, as a matter of fact. So even if you're feeling like it's too hot to get work in outside, I find that the best place to really dial in a swing is a simulator to get that data. Personally, that's what I find. They have a double-decker driving range. They have a par 3 golf course, which I play with my 5-year-old. They have lunch and dinner on the terrace and the wonderful patio of the Back 9 Bar and Grill. Host events. That place is outstanding. Love that place. Good people working there. Great instructors. They have club fitting for those of you who are looking to get new clubs. They make St. Louis better at golf. Learn, practice, play your best golf at Family Golf and Learning Center. It's familygolfonline.com. That's Family Golf and Learning Center. Send your emails in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. And you are also welcome to text in or call in. Is Larry Nickel on the line?
I know he's trying. He just texted me. I'm trying to call in, but no one's answering. KG, trust me, I've been in that spot 1,000 times.
I got you. Next time it rings, I got him.
Yeah,
Nice.
I told him to try it again.
All right, so Larry Nickel.
Need it.
Let's see what we got. Rick and KG in 36 hours, and it's a shot of Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau at the $5 bet table at Blackjack. That's what.
I love that movie, and I think that Favreau ends up a winner at the end. So you can call me Favreau all you want.
They did wind up going to a mobile home in the desert, and Vince Vaughn was engaging in coitus. Unfortunately, Jon Favreau, spoiler alert, kept trying to call his voicemail,
right,
and track down his ex-girlfriend. And I don't know if that would be either one of you. I don't believe you have.
No. But he ends up with Heather Graham at the end, doesn't he?
Yes. Lorraine.
Is there a bigger W in the world than
Most underrated rack in Hollywood.
You doing a top 10, or is just there's
No,
straight to
just,
number 1?
you know, she's shown him a few times, and they're not just in Boogie Nights. She did another one where she was full frontal.
Nice.
She was great in The Hangover too.
And then Sarah
She
Sashi.
played a stripper or a hooker.
Yeah,
stripper?
and that's Sarah Sashi. Remember her?
Sarah Sashi.
Or Sarah Sahashi.
Sarah Sahashi.
She had a bit part in Sopranos when Tony went out to Vegas to see her.
Oh, she was great in that.
Yeah.
When he took peyote.
Yeah, she's in a new movie or a new TV series on I think Showtime called
Outlander.
Sex Lives.
Sex Lives of College Girls?
No, it's just Sex/Life.
Yep, that's the one.
And she gets naked a bunch.
Huh.
Kind of boring though.
Well, that's out there. But I was just saying, like, if I'm Favreau in the situation, I can end up with Heather Graham. Count me in.
Oh yeah.
And like mid-90s Heather Graham too, even though she still looks great.
Cute as a button.
Yeah. This show's dedicated to Heather Graham.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm actually dedicating my entire trip to Heather Graham.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Looks like you're a man looking out there for love in Las Vegas.
I'm always looking for love, Tim. That's kind of
would you like to be married within the next couple of years?
5 to 6, 7, 8. Yeah. I'd say.
Well, now we're going to 33.
Yeah, that would be like in the next 5 years. Yes, I would like to be married.
Yeah. God bless. Hey.
Will you be my mom?
Excuse me?
That's from Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Doing all the coke in the
Juliana Moore.
Doing coke at like 2, like doing just heaps of it at 2
Her
p.m.
eyes just, will you be my mom?
She never took the skates off. I hope she'd take the skates off with me. You don't want to catch a skate.
What an odd behavior to have an 80-year-old routinely derail the show to bring up actresses who've been nude. It's so freaking weird. That's from Susie Cream Cheese.
It is shades of his crestfallen. It is shades of Knocked Up when they try making Mr. Skin, but Mr. Skin already exists.
Yeah, and half the listeners now are on Google typing in Heather Graham naked.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've probably all seen Boogie
I
Nights.
give you
They
this
know
advice, you bitch about it, but you're all Googling to see what movie she was naked in now.
Chairman Stephen Wildwood says, I would love to take Heather Graham to the zoo.
I would too. I'd take Heather Graham anywhere.
Scott's wrinkled ballsack, not his wife, says, I'm going to need a QFTA sooner than later. Thanks, boys. Did you post the one from yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just posted a brand new one. We did one yesterday. Scott's wrinkled ballsack, not your wife. And I also see, he sent in a text about 10 minutes ago. It says, I've had some good times at the strip clubs, been to them with and without the wife, seen some things I can't unsee. The dancing ladies enjoy giving good-looking ladies the attention that most men in great sweatpants sitting in the corner yearn for. That's from Scott's wrinkled ballsack. I can confirm that. And that was the reason why I was intrigued by the stag bars back in the day. Because everything for me goes back to the pursuit of lesbianism, which Tucker found at the Little League World Series. Larry Nickel is with us here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After to give a WWE recap. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, guys. What's up?
I don't hear a TV show in the background today.
The volume's been turned down.
I just heard that.
I just heard a little bit. Is that Brooke Burns again?
Yes.
Oh, I like your routine. Larry, what happened last night on the presentation?
It was supposed to be a tag team main event match between the undisputed tag champs, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and Damian Priest and Finn Balor. But Kevin Owens got his team disqualified for using a foreign object, a.k.a. the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then all heck broke loose. And then Cody Rhodes came out. So they changed it from a tag team match to a six-man tag team match, which was run by the undisputed tag champs and Cody Rhodes.
6-team tag team?
Nice.
Six-man tag team.
6-man, okay. I thought there was 6 pairings. That'd be tough to track.
That would be.
No, it's a 6-man, which is 3 men on each side.
Right. No, I get that. 3-on-3.
Is Trish Stratus on the show last night?
Yeah, she was on the show last night, and we found out that we from this coming Saturday is going to be the rematch again between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch at the Premium Live event, a.k.a. PW Payback. But this time it's going to be inside a 15-foot high steel cage.
Nice. That'll be fun. Larry, I got this from Juan from PP Corp. He operates Tiffany Smooth's OnlyFans account. And he says, I bet Larry won't talk about how AEW eclipsed 80,000 tickets sold for its UK debut at Wembley this Sunday.
80K at Wembley? That's crazy.
I hate to say it, but AEW's ticket sales got eclipsed by WrestleMania 40's ticket sales the first day it went on sale on Friday.
So you're more of a WWE guy than AEW.
I know. I should be an AEW guy too, but I'm working during the time it's on, so I'm not able to watch it.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you have the top 5 countries in the world?
Yes, I do, but before I do that, I like to plug the Walk Positive I'm doing in October.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Larry, you do this every year, if I'm not mistaken, don't you?
I've been doing it since 2011.
That's what I thought.
And I didn't post it on my Facebook page, or pages, a way for people to donate. So people who are friends with me on Facebook can go to that link and click and donate. But for those of you who are not friends with me on Facebook,
All of those of you who are not working in local television.
By the way, where's Doug, by the way?
Doug is off today. He will be back tomorrow. It's just a one-day deal. It's not a vacation. He just had to take today off. He let us know about that last week. So we were able to get KG and O-Town in.
Yeah. Hello, KG and O-Town.
Hi, Larry. Great to hear from you, buddy.
Sitting here back. Anyway, go to autismspeechwalk.org and search Larry Nickel, and you can donate on the actual website.
That's awesome.
Sick.
God bless Larry.
Amen. Larry, do you have the top 5 countries at your disposal?
It's a big one.
Yes, I do. Now I can do the top 5 countries. Number 5 will be Gio, England.
Oh. Nice.
Number 4 will be Indonesia.
Right.
Number 3 will be Greenland.
Such a diverse
Number
list.
2,
Populous country.
Number 2, Canada. Number 1, United States of America.
Yes. Larry, God bless you, and God bless these United States of America.
Yeah, God bless America.
There he is, Larry Nickel, with a WWE recap. I'm looking at the Fun with Audio. I haven't listened, but did Mike Francesa go on Barstool yesterday?
He did.
He was at the Barstool studio yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to go back and watch that. Well, we have some clips from that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's a way different dynamic than I would say we're so used to on the Francesa clips because they used to just be him babbling.
Who interviewed him, Portnoy?
No, KFC.
KFC.
And Feidelberg.
Okay.
Leading the interview. And, like, these are guys, KFC certainly is, like, a New York sports guy for
Right.
a long time. So to, like, hear him talk, it's, like, obviously someone he admires. And so Francesa is much more gregarious.
Really?
And so it's an interesting dynamic, I would say.
am looking forward to that. Some good fun with audio coming your way in the 8 o'clock hour. We close out the Munganess St. Louis Acura and Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour. This is the Ryan Kelly Morning After from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Hey, if you like the Morning After, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, HD1, by the way. It's Sports Talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the Morning After. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. If you're like most folks, you probably added some credit card debt over the summer. Vacations, projects around the house, heck, just living costs an arm and a leg these days. Have you thought about a cash out refinance? Maybe you think that mortgage rates are too high. Take a look at those credit cards. Most of them are in the 20% range. With a cash out refinance, you can pay off your credit cards, save hundreds of dollars a month, and when mortgage interest rates come down, we will refinance your loan with no lender fees to save you even more money. And it doesn't stop there. If you're thinking about buying a new home, we've got you covered. Don't let today's mortgage rates be the reason that you don't make the move. Home prices have really started to come down, and there's some great deals out there. We already have some of the lowest rates in town. And when they drop, we will refinance your loan with no lender fees to get that payment nice and low. Get all your questions answered and get started on your new life today. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hello, it's Jackson for Rosalitas. TMA listeners know that Rosalitas Cantina has the best patio and the best Tex-Mex in town. From tableside guac to piled high nachos, the amazing menu at Rosalitas is full of classic Mexican dishes. Plus, it's always time for a margarita, and Rosalitas has the most delicious house and specialty margs in town. Enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, and let Rosalitas cater your next event. Check out rosalitascantina.com or visit the downtown or DePere location today. Time to get your fiesta on at Rosalitas.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Watch TMA on YouTube. Click the bell to subscribe. Download the podcast. Find it at tmastl.com or wherever you podcast. And check us out on TikTok at TMASTL.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After on 105.7 FM HD2.
Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota, the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, and the longtime 7 o'clock hour sponsor on TMA, and the official automotive provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. They have a secret number for our listeners to call or text with any questions or requests they may have. 314-252-0029. Call or text that number. Go shopping at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com. Hey, this is Tim McKernan of TMA, and we are thrilled to have another new sponsor on board the show. A couple of guys I have gotten to know. Longo Biggs Injury Law, Doug Biggs and C.D. Longo here with me. And C.D., one of the things that I want our audience to know is this. When people get injured in an accident, they don't necessarily know what to do, and that's where you guys come into play.
Yeah. Tim, it can be a very confusing process. If you get hurt in a car accident or injured some other way, people do not know what to do. They don't even know how to start a claim. We're going to take the hassle out of your hands and make the entire process very easy. Injury cases are potentially worth a lot of money. We're going to make sure you get every dollar you deserve. We're very excited to be part of the TMA family. We're hoping to have a lot of fun with this. If you are a loved one, do get injured, please remember us at Longo Biggs Injury Law. You can visit our website at longobiggs.com, and that is Biggs with 2 G's.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Okay.
Hot takes.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Stroh. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at TMASTL.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back and bigger than ever with $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Only at Circus Sports. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. 2 ways to win and no rake. Play Circa Million, where you make 5 picks against the spread each week with 100% payback. Or join Circus Survivor, where you select one team each week straight up. Last the longest to win it all. $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Visit circusports.com for details.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you or fake you or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2. Now, back to the Ryan Kelly morning after on KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
About to be popping some
Let's
champagne.
do it.
Get that Chardonnay ready high. Cause I was getting high.
What?
You know what happens when I gets high. We gonna be partying like it's 2006 again. You know, yes, St. Louis, we the truest red birds in our hearts. So many pennies, we should hang them from the arch. I love my bird.
Welcome back, Ryan Kelly Morning After. It is 8:24 in St. Louis on Tuesday, August 22nd. 2023. Timothy Michael McKernan, Jackson Burkett is about to go to Las Vegas, but he is in the studio today. The Michelob Ultra Studios, filling in for Doug Vaughn, who has the day off. Ken Strode is handling fourth quarter projections for Hubbard. I think the Seattle market is what he's looking at. Revenue up in the Pacific Northwest. Plowhawk is in on the ones and twos. KG and O-Town is also heading to Las Vegas, but he is in the Seckman studios. You are able to text into the show anytime you would like, 314-881-TMA5. Just store it in your phone, and then just become a friend of the Feather. Become an active friend of the Feather.
Easy as that.
Yeah, it really is. And you can call in. We got a call from Tucker this morning.
Larry Nickel was on the program as well. And then you'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day at 9:45. The morning after at InsideSTL.com. Design Air online at DesignAirService.com. On a day like today, it's a nice day to go down to Ted Drew's and cool off. Ted Drew's frozen custard. Oh my goodness. All these delicious flavors for the summer of 2023, including the brand new City Red, which is Ted's famous frozen custard, the vanilla with maraschino cherries, coconut flakes, and Dad's Scotch oatmeal cookies. It's all in one, and it's called the City Red in honor of the first place doggies. City Red, along with the Cardinal Sin, the S'mores Concrete. That's a go-to for me. That's a go-to for me. Located on Chippewa and on South Grand. The South Grand location's been open since 1931. It's the oldest frozen custard stand in the country. Ted Drew's frozen custard. On the South Side, it really is good, guys and gals. A wonderful St. Louis tradition. So Francesa was on with the Barstool Boys yesterday. Jackson, why don't you set these audio clips up?
Yeah, so the first one, Plowhawk, when I titled Francesa Barstool, is how him talking about how him and Mad Dog changed the radio game forever.
Then came Pardon the Interruption, which is, as Tony, who I've known forever, has told me, it's Mike and the Mad Dog. It's what it is. I mean, that's basically it.
Did you ever feel that way?
Oh, I knew what we had. We changed radio completely because radio before us, sports radio was a guy basically at night, not during the day. There was no programming of sports all day.
Right.
After 6 o'clock, there was a guy doing sports talk in every town. He'd have a bell, or he had a couple of gimmicks, and he would the Pete Franklin of the world. Okay, if you guys know who Pete Franklin is, okay, that's how it was. It was one guy working in the later hours of the day or on weekends, doing sports, doing trivia, doing stuff, and then we created the two-man show. Now, the ironic thing is the two guys who created the two-man show as being the format that became everywhere. We never have worked with anybody else. We've only worked solo since we split up. So, because neither of us knew how to take a partner. It really was. It was uncomfortable for either of us to take a partner because we were always synonymous with one partner. So that's been the difference. But
you're pro friend.
Just in honor of Doug, I'll be critical of the edit point. So Iggy, I'm gonna turn to you on this. I guess I'm thinking about it. Mike and the Mad Dog was the first sports talk show. Is that accurate? WFAN in New York City? Because they had Imus on in the morning, so they weren't all sports all the time. And then Imus had the Rutgers thing in 2007, so then I think that's when they started doing all sports all day.
Well, I don't know when he was talking about. I mean, I know they started, I think, in 89 or 90.
All right, okay.
So to say there was no talk shows late night.
And 1380 in St. Louis was the first station, is that right?
92.
And who did afternoons in St. Louis? Was Claiborne doing it?
Either Claiborne or Slayton. Jay was part of the morning show, I think.
Mornings.
I was there, and then he had a bunch of other guys that...
What show were you producing?
Randy Hugh was there. Brian McKenna was there. Kim Hibbs was there, who went on to, I think, be like
a news anchor,
program director at KMOV for a while. So he had a lot of guys doing shows throughout the day. So to say that everything was one guy at nighttime is wrong.
KMOX had a sports department, but it obviously isn't a sports talk station. But yeah, the sports talk format in St. Louis at the very least. I mean, I can't speak to there are signature sports talk brands throughout the country. The Ticket in Dallas, WIP in Philadelphia.
They weren't around when we were around.
Okay, is that right?
I think at the time when
Boston has two big ones, if I'm not mistaken. Now New York has ESPN. I'm
else.
trying to think of what's another one that's like a monster.
Philadelphia had WIP.
Yeah, WIP. I've been to WIP.
But at the time when KASP started in 92, there were only 5 sports stations. Ours.
Really?
WFAN and 3 other ones.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I think Mad Dog...
So when Francesa is saying, there's some truth to it then.
Well, yeah, there wasn't a ton of them, but to say there was none except for them is wrong. Of course, he's just boasting like he always does. He changed sports talk radio. No, you didn't. Sports talk radio, sports talk radio.
But the point is, it wasn't, I think what it was, like Bob Burns and Bob Bragg, who were 2 Post-Dispatch writers. When I bust tables at Pietro's, Bob Burns would come in, I think every day. They had a sandwich named after him, if I'm not mistaken. they would do a show at night on KMOX.
After Cardinal baseball, usually.
Is that what it was? And that's where the trade proposal came from, which is why Doug says I love trade proposals. And now it becomes something that we mock, which is the asinine trade proposal. Let's give up Alec Burleson, and get Shohei Ohtani or whatever. But that's what it was. And it was that kind of dry, serious sports thing. So I have talked with people who are in radio and have been in radio for a long time in St. Louis, still in radio, and say, in a way, that kind of format in St. Louis is what people associated with sports talk. And so for older people, anytime somebody wouldn't talk sports, they're like, you're not doing it right because these guys did it. And subconsciously, that became what you thought was quote unquote right. And that isn't necessarily the way that it's done. So in other words, the way it's done more often is closer to the Francesa Mad Dog thing. And now it's certainly way more, for younger people anyway, more of the Barstool thing, or, however one would want to describe it. The guy talk thing, that gets applied to this show, and I just go, that's not it, but whatever. I don't really call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me.
The guy I'll give credit to with kind of starting that in St. Louis is Brian McKenna. He was doing it in '92 with Randy Hugh. They started a show.
I don't know who Randy Hugh is.
He was a hockey guy. He was like
Jackson. You must know him then.
Yeah, well,
that was way back. But he was known for his hockey, and they would do a show, and they called it Shirt and Skins. And McKenna, even though there was no YouTube back then, he's in the studio. He's got a shirt off doing a show in the studio. But he would go out there and say a bunch of off the wall stuff that nobody was doing. Nobody else at the station was doing. I will say we were the first station to do a specialty show. I mean, we did two of them. Jay and I did a collectible show, and Vicky Pimentel and I did
Vicky Pimentel.
No, Jay and I started a bowling show. And
Jay was involved in the bowling show?
Yeah, Jay was the first co-host of the bowling show. We did it at KSP for like a year, or half a year before we went off the air. And at the same time, Vicky Pimentel and I were doing a collectible show on a Saturday at KSP in '92. So I don't think out of the other 5 or 6 stations anybody was doing any kind of specialty show.
That reminds me, I think we need to update our trivia questions for Morning Grind history. Because, were you at KFNS in 2004 when this show started?
I was
You might have been at 1380.
I was back. I came back from Springfield and went to work at 1380.
Okay. So when the very first day, and this might have only lasted a week, this might activate producer Joe if he's listening, although Joe might not have been here for this. The show was me, Martin, the cat. Joe started like 2 weeks in because he had to leave the lawn job in Atlanta, feeder program for sports radio producers in St. Louis.
What you do before and after radio.
It always goes back to landscaping.
Yeah.
Stedman was not the board operator. Nickel was. Banty Rooster, too.
Was he?
Yeah, if you're doing Mount Rushmore of Banty people associated with TMA, he'd be a sneaker play, but he's right there as George Washington live. But Vicky Pimentel was actually on the show doing sports updates. She was, and I remember she came in, and I guess they told her to interact with us. And I remember looking across, and like the cat was in my line of sight here, and Martin was over where that trophy is. And she came in, and we didn't have anything against her. We just didn't know she was on the show. And she came in, and she started cracking wise, with 3 incredibly, whatever, big smartasses. I don't know who the biggest smartass is of the 3, but there's 3 smartasses in there. And like the look on the cat's face when she started doing material, it's like, what the hell happened? I think that lasted a week, and then we decided to pivot. But she was actually one of the original members of this program. Fun facts for no and tell.
There you go.
It didn't even cross my mind because it's been 2 decades. But yes, that happened.
I think she was the first woman in St. Louis to do sports.
Well, this is a show where friends feel they can drop in at any time.
That's correct.
Iggy, I was looking at your photo album yesterday that you posted on Facebook in honor of National Radio Day.
They only let me post 80. I could have went like 150.
I got to go see what's doing. You posted some pictures?
I really enjoyed. I had a big smile on my face scrolling through, including, I don't know the gentleman's name, but doing radio with the go-go dancers to the side of
that's Brian McKenna.
Brian McKenna.
That's back in the man days when they decided.
A lot of porn stars on these.
Well, I just put some of the people I've interviewed and who I've been show associated with radio.
And the picture of you and Adam Sandler.
Hey, there's me, you, and Anna Marie in our basement.
Yeah, well,
Is
we
that
were
the less popular.
we were watching Mizzou, and I had the Alabama, so it's sports related.
Yeah, I would have not been happy with you that day if I was there.
Yeah,
the Plowhawk was there. He had like he was wearing Crimson Tide gear.
Yeah, me and Plowsy were just rooting for Alabama all day.
I don't know how Pete stomached it.
The Kentucky one was tough.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I actually been a live wire because that was BS.
Yeah, Pete had a tough time with the Kentucky
I
one.
bet.
I never realized how many pictures
Yeah.
I have on my phone because I said I'll throw some pictures up there of radio days, and I was halfway through my album and I'd already put 80 up there.
Yeah, I really did enjoy looking at
I got to start deleting some of these.
I think they're all gold.
No, not those, but I got so many pictures in my phone that
Well,
really
look at you and Henry Aaron.
don't need to be there. That was a fun moment. I
Go dancers with Brian McKenna.
That's such a good picture.
That was the man.
What was their
guys.
thought process behind that? Like people driving by would see that and tune in?
Well, I remember Jeff Burton. He kiddingly, tongue in cheek, told our sales. I'm not going to say sales staff. Our salesperson. We had one.
Right.
That man, somebody's going to have a wreck out there. You might as well go ahead and get a insurance company to sponsor that. He get great idea. He's on the phone calling insurance companies. We got go-go dancers. There may be a crash sponsored by. I said, what an idiot. No wonder this place is going down.
The go-go dancers are dancing the sports talk radio, by the way, too. Like,
There's no
I think
music.
that's very underrated to think there's no headphones in their no earbud that they're dancing. They're literally hearing a breakdown of like a Cardinal game in August, and they're just dancing to that. Like,
I
it's
can't
so
imagine.
awkward on and I'm the board off, so I'm like right next to these people.
Where's the money making strategy there?
There
Where are you
was
getting
none.
ROI?
They just thought they would get some kind of pub that somebody would see it and
God, they were so bad
call a
at it.
news station. They got some stripper in the window. It was just stupid. I mean, I don't believe McKenna would be able to tell me this. I don't believe him and Jeff even knew they were coming in.
Oh, so all of a sudden there's that'd be great if you had go-go dancers.
Much
in the
like Vicky
background here.
Pimentel.
Yeah, like doing the show. Like, what is going on here?
Oh, it was a Tuesday.
Are you supposed to be here?
Performance.
Great
as well.
pics, Iggy. I especially love the pics of you and Jay. When did you meet Sinbad? I'll have to check out that interview. That's from Aunt Peg, wonderful ball striker.
It's planned today.
Is it really?
I think so.
There's a picture of you in like a suit with another gentleman who's like is up to your chest, and he makes you look
Mickey
like
Carroll?
you're like 6'6".
Tim wouldn't know who he is.
I'm scrolling through all these pictures right now.
I can't remember who it was, but I was like,
That was-
'cause you're not short, but you're not very tall.
No, I was standing on a chair.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because-
you look like
because
you're
this-
7 feet
Big sexy Kevin Nash. Is this the one right here?
No.
That's what you were talking about, Jackson?
No,
It's an NBA player. And I think the NBA player
Look at you, like snuggling up to Doug at Maggie O'Brien's.
It was 6'8", and that was probably 93 because we were at the KFNS studios in Clayton.
Oh, Bill Bradley?
Yeah, Bill Bradley.
Ran for president.
Oh,
He was leading Al Gore in the Democratic primary at one point.
And that is my office, which is like a
99,
sitting area
2000, or-
right where the KZK studio was, where Easy Ed Goodman and Mary Phelan were doing a show. And I had a coffee table and a couch, and that's where I did my producing. And we had
all you need.
We had Bill Bradley one day, and I stood on a chair to tower over
What
him.
a wonderful collection of pictures. I just scrolled through them. There really are some good ones in there.
I wish I could have put more up there. They stopped at 80, so.
They cut you off at 80? Is that
Do
the
a part 2, second thread, or start a second Facebook page.
Yeah,
like
that's
Larry.
one's enough.
Let's see. Jackson, my advice is to take advantage of what Circa has to offer, especially the massive stadium swim, which is part Vegas pool, part outdoor sports bar. It will be hopping on Friday. Hopefully your Circa hosts can hook you up for this venue. Otherwise, think Wed Republic at MGM, Marquee at Cosmo, or Tau Beach at the Venetian. In my opinion, you would want to go to the parent website, Tau Group, and buy tickets in advance to help you get in. Good luck. There you go.
I'll be going to that Circa.
Who's that from?
Just 618. I don't
Humble
know.
brag.
That was a humble brag?
Well, you could have DM'd him and told him all the places you've been in Vegas.
I prefer actually this venue would be. I prefer to do it on the text line as opposed to my DMs. But I will definitely be at the Stadium Swim because we're staying there. I don't think I'll be buying tickets to go to a pool online beforehand. That seems like a little bit of overkill. But again, I don't know. I've never been to Vegas.
Sinbad was on immediately following the replay of the show yesterday. It's so annoying at this point that I stopped listening altogether. That's from Arbor Day. Wow. Arbor Day.
Wah. Cry me a river, bud. I could care less. I don't play it every day, so stop. It plays at
So you're saying that is a false statement?
It may have played yesterday, but it doesn't play. It doesn't play all the time. It plays every 10 days. Jackson can attest. I don't know if you remember. Every time you automate something, it tells you exactly the day and when it was last played.
You could take care of this. Just take it out of the skeleton, couldn't you? Then it would never play.
I ain't taking that out of the skeleton. If
it's
anything,
a valuable asset.
Yeah, if anything, these types of people want me to play it every day. Like that text right there makes me want to go in after the show to automation and play it immediately.
Literally make it Sinbad all
Yeah,
day.
like I'll make it Sinbad all day. I didn't listen to the whole one segment out of 550 segments has got this guy to completely stop listening. Like, dude, look in the mirror,
He hasn't
bro.
stopped listening. He's going to bitch, but he listens every day. Now, I told you, it's no big deal, but if you need like 8-10 minute segments to kill, there's 25 of my straight to the web interviews that are edited back there somewhere.
Well, I think we have them in the system
You start
now.
shoving those in there.
Shove them right in.
Oh, that's my favorite style of automation, just shoving them in
They
there.
play once every 2 weeks. You
Who's
got
your
them for 2
favorite
years.
straight to the web interview?
I really enjoyed my Jamie Lynn Sigler.
Yeah, she's great.
Post Sopranos.
Yeah.
She's great. She
Nina
has a
Blackwood's
podcast.
got to be my favorite one.
Oof, that's a tough listen.
Jamie Lynn and the guy who played AJ do a podcast together. Just started that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Leah Remini.
Huh?
Leah Remini,
Who's that?
King of Queens.
Oh, I love her too. I love King of
Scientology.
Queens.
Yeah. At the end, I told her, I made it up. I said, I'm writing this book, and there'll probably be a movie made of the book. I would really like you to be in it and be my love interest. And she said, will we make out? I said, of course. She goes, I'm in.
Nice.
Very naughty.
I've used it a few times.
The younger days of King of Queens, she looked absolutely
she did.
gorgeous.
Your thoughts are welcome on any topic. Plowhawk, they are really unhappy with your rant.
On what? What did I even rant about?
The Sinbad thing.
But it's true. It doesn't play. It plays every 10 days, or at least, like at the most, it'll play every 10 days.
And Darren blames the boomers. That's from the Slippery Turtle.
No, it's like it's legit. I'm 100% serious. I don't play anything outside of 10 days being played last. So like it's an absolute fact. Just because you hear it randomly doesn't mean it plays all the time. I assure you, each one of these doesn't play for at least a week past.
I don't think people that understand that when you complain to Plowhawk, he'll have motivation now to do the opposite of your ask, just to make you more aggravated. That's from the
Correct.
Crestwood Coyote.
So please keep the complaint coming, because I mean, loading up Sinbad every day would make my job easier. So keep the complaint coming, because that complaint is a false complaint. Now, if there was a legit complaint about the show, about the podcast, about anything that I can help with, I'm fine with. But you wanting to not hear Sinbad every 10 days is not my problem, because that's one of the segments that I'm going to load up and play. I don't actually look for it to play, but you got to time out these segments accordingly. And a Sinbad one is 20 minutes on the dot. It's perfect.
The thing about the show is that you hardly ever do interviews because they don't really fit, but then they're an outsized part of the replay because Plowsy doesn't have to do much work.
Nope.
It's the only reason. And no one thinks they're any good either. That's from Arbor Day. This Arbor Day is coming.
But
This Arbor Day is
dude,
coming.
through May and August, or even earlier than that, you're talking Cardinal talk that has no, like, talking about a Carlos Martinez star. Is Joe Kelly going to make the rotation? All those make zero sense. So you're taking a huge chunk of these shows. Now, we don't talk sports all the time, but we like to say this word evergreen. And it really is a lot. These segments have to be evergreen, meaning they have to make sense 2-3 years from now, 6-8 months from now. And so it's not because it makes my job easier. I still have to edit every single library that doesn't exist out of there. I have to edit anything that just doesn't seem entertaining. So it's not like it's a set it and forget it style. It's editing nonetheless. The reason you hear a lot of interview segments, those are what we like to call, again, Tim, evergreen.
Evergreen is our word. Here's a compliment. Need to compliment the skeleton. Scored some freebies to Queen Bee last night. Left early. I'm one of the olds. Got in the car, and lo, we were treated to Doug's DMV rant, followed by Douglas turning the tables by making you guys read the 2011 Rams and Blues schedules. Wife and I giggled the entire way home. What a delight. That's from Stepdad Gary.
Well, the problem with the people that complain is, I think Iggy brings it up too. It's a good point. It's if you're wanting to hear a specific segment, or you don't want to hear a specific segment, and you're hearing it on the replay, don't listen to the all-day replay. Go into our app. It's a phenomenal app. You can go to podcast the morning after and find any specific segment you would personally like to hear. If you're wanting just blind entertainment, it's perfect. But if you want to hear a specific segment, about 98% of the time, you're not going to hear it because it's so randomized with 450 plus segments.
Listen, if you listen, I'm sorry, Jackson, but if you listen to a radio station, and it's one of your favorite stations, pick any one, and a song comes on that you really don't like, do you send an email to the radio station? I can't believe you played that song. It sucks.
You played this
Heard it yesterday too.
Yeah,
No, you just turn the radio until another song comes on. It's that simple.
I'd like to focus on the positive here.
Of Oh my course. God.
And
There's a lot of
Stepdad
positives.
Gary's text, because when we originally came over here to Hubbard, in my mind is exactly what Stepdad Gary just said. Leaving a Beyonce concert is certainly an outstanding example, but anything, leaving a Cardinal game, going to and fro work, or a situation might come up where you're driving home late at night or something, and you turn on TMA all day and you get a classic like Doug's DMV rant, followed by Douglas. What a 1-2 punch, Plowsy, by the way.
Right? Yeah, but I don't get thanked for that.
And people laughing on the way home. That right there is what TMA all day in its halcyon moments is.
Oh, I like that halcyon.
And so you got to take the good with the bad. And I think Stepdad Gary's text is just that brings magic and a big smile to my face.
And if you're listening to this all day, we have a lot of things to discuss about your life, and it's not how many times I play Sinbad. It's like you need to find a hobby. You know, go on a bike ride. You know, join a golf league. You know, have a poker night with your boys. Right. But like listening to them for 20 hours a day and then complaining about it is super toxic.
Take a stripper to the zoo.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a fun little day.
Fun little day would be going out in the back and chipping and putting, and that's what you can do with Clubhouse Turf. Driving the ball 300 yards is cool. Might impress your buddies. But scoring amounts to getting the ball in the hole. How many times have you hit a great drive only to miss the green, skull a chip, and 3-putt your way to a double bogey? While tour players get up and down 2/3 of the time, scratch golfers still only get up and down around half the time. Thus, the best way to lower your scores is to improve your short game. And that's why tour players like world number 1 John Rahm and Max Homa have installed celebrity greens in their backyards. Anyone can put down fake turf and call it a putting green, but if you want a golf green that putts true and gives you real grass performance when practicing chips, pitches, and bunker shots, the only way to do it is to call Clubhouse Turf, St. Louis's exclusive partner of Celebrity Greens. 314-834-2339. That's 314-834-2339. Or visit clubhouseturf.com and let them know you are a TMA listener. Jackson, tell the people about Mark Hanna.
Oh, Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. That's my guy. It's who I work with. Doug works with him. The aforementioned Prod Joe works with him, and just a ton of our listeners work with Mark Hanna. And I've talked to listeners they're like, I'm about to start working with Mark Hanna. What do you think I should talk about in that first meeting? It's like, you just talk about, Mark's going to ask you the right questions, he's going to find out information about you, and he's going to give you a plan that works for you. It's not going to be a cookie cutter plan that, I got a guy who's, you're around your age and around your salary, so this plan works for him. No. He's going to custom make a plan for you, educate you on it, and then you make the decision to go forward with that plan. And then if you need to make a change, because we all know that life has a ton of variables, you get on the phone with Mark Hanna, he can help guide you through any issue you may have. That's what sets Mark apart, is his ability to convey his message to his client. That's why I work with Mark Hanna. That's why you should work with Mark Hanna as well.
314-889-0503 or go online at evergreenstl.com. That's Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategy. So we have a second soundbite here from Francesa on Barstool yesterday. What is he talking about in this one, Plowhawk? Jackson, my nurse?
He's talking about the dynamic he has with his audience and more so
with the callers.
And his callers.
Yeah.
You kind of created this whole world with your callers as well.
Yeah.
That I feel like that really became.
I treat the callers the way everybody wants to treat them, but nobody does.
Yes. yeah.
I treated them honestly.
Right.
This is how I depicted it, because so many people come to me and say, "Oh, you know what? You hate the audience," and I say, "Excuse me, I cherish the audience. I challenge the callers." There's a great difference. Mm-hmm. First of all, 2% of the audience, maybe even 1% of the audience calls. That's it.
Yeah.
And here's how I always explained it. I'm on the stage. I'm standing on the stage, and this person walks out onto the stage. Now, they had the nerve to walk out onto the stage.
Yes. Right.
Okay? They thought they had something worthy of contributing. Well, damn, contribute it. And if it sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. Yeah. Okay? If it's dumb, I'm going to tell you it's dumb. And if it's good, I'll tell you it's good. But I expect you to bring something to the table because of the fact that you came to do this. Mm-hmm. Don't come there and just try to derail my show or ruin it. So I would react the way I would expect somebody to react. And I couldn't be this person who was like, some guy would ask the dumbest question in the world, and, oh, thank you for calling. Give me a break.
Nobody
I love
does
that. I do
Nobody
like
does
that.
that.
You could see the blood pressure rise just for a second there. You could tell he was got someone asking Giambi again, and he started
he's
to get
ready to roll.
he started to get upset.
I know we only hear the bad calls, but I guarantee 90% of his calls are like that now.
Oh, he doesn't take calls on his podcast.
But
Yeah.
before he did that, people called just to rile him up, and he would do it, and it got to be the same shtick. Hey, we don't hold an hour and a half for that.
He is
Well,
an
has-
absolute
Steven
legend out there
Bamberg.
in New York, though, man. They worship Mike
Well, I think he's a legend in general. That has to get so old. Although, like, I love the calls, and I hope they keep coming in terms of, whatever platform he ends up being on, that he can take calls. But that got to get old. I mean, every single call, he has a great take, and I'm not saying that happens often, but let's say he has a great take, he's peacocking around, and you just get your caller, it's just, hey, where's Jason Giambi hitting in the lineup tonight? It's like, that'd be tough.
But I would say that from a national perspective, certainly in the later portion of his career, the stupid Giambi calls and, hey, Mike, can I slap your big butt cheeks?
Hey, Mike, I want to slap your big butt cheek.
Perfect.
Great.
Made him relevant, like,
Oh.
like I wouldn't have really, I have family out there, so I guess I would have heard him once or twice, but I would have never really known who he was if I didn't watch, like, a compilation of Francesa After Dark where he talks about someone giving it to him for 9 innings.
But yeah, that's the thing. He brings it on himself a lot. Like I do that too on this show quite a bit. That's why I get a grilling all the time, and which is most of the time well deserved.
Well, he's also a buffoon on there.
Yeah, I don't think he understands that he does bring it on. Like a lot of things he says, a lot of rants. He does kind of flip flop on takes as well. I know everybody in that business for 30 plus years are going to flip flop on takes, but he brings a little bit of those on himself. The Stan Lee thing was unreal.
It's the greatest
It
of them
could
all.
be the greatest clip I have ever heard in my life. Who's that? Oh, by the way, who cares? That gets me every time. So there are some
Jesus.
memorable clips that he has that will never be taken away.
Last night on Monday Night Football, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I guess it was their first game for the year, Commanders and Ravens. I watched a little bit of it. They were talking about Hard Knocks, and then also Joe's, I believe it was 3 episodes of his HBO program came up as well. Let's take a listen.
Hard Knocks has been so fun to watch as Jake Fromm takes over at quarterback for Washington and hands off. Hand off to Derek Gore and a nice carry to start this possession for the Commanders who trail by 8. And I'm going to rank them in order of importance. Aaron Rodgers, Hard Knocks. The Mentalist is number 2 on my list. And Liev Schreiber, the voice of God, as Aaron Rodgers has said 41 times, is number 3.
Pretty cocky coming in on a helicopter, huh?
I had a show once at HBO. Didn't really end all that well. Paging Jake Fromm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an ad lib. That's an ad lib
outstanding.
convention right there. It's a
The
lesson.
preseason second half, you better believe it.
Well, did you see the new Commanders owner and his brief
my God.
moment in the booth yesterday? So Buck is kind of
Dude.
doing this, talking with his hands a little bit, and he leaves his hand out there for a second, and Josh Harris, the new owner, goes and shakes his hand.
Dude, Tim, I'm not
you have
kidding.
to look it up.
Oh, I gotta go look for this.
Brutal. Like, I've been in that situation where, like, something happens like that, but never on national television when I just bought a $5 billion asset.
And he looks like an alien doing it too. Like it's like, where do I put my
Brutal,
hands? Like it was.
Oh my God! It is so awkward.
I hate awkward moments.
I feel
and that was
terrible
one of
for him
these.
because
looked at it.
Yeah, he's taken over for Dan Snyder, which is the whole thing. And his first public appearance, he tries to shake Joe Buck's hand when he wasn't going for a hand, and Aikman like laughs in his like
because he knows him and Joe are going to talk about that forever.
Yeah. Oh my God! I feel terrible for this guy.
Oh God! I just looked at. He looks like a guy that you'll see walking out of the casino at about 6 in the morning after losing about $40,000. That's what this guy looks like, except he now owns the Commanders.
With one of his female friends.
That's the guy I want to do man on the street interviews with. Is the guy like that? That actually is what I might do is wake up really early for me, 4 a.m. Vegas time. So that would be an hour before our show starts, and just do man on the street with people coming out of the casino at 4 a.m. and seeing if they're up or they're down.
It's the people still pounding the slot button. I'm like, oh boy, it's 4:15.
What do you think about the future of Luke and Baker? And then you tell me.
Go hang out at a pawn shop, and as they go in, need airfare back home.
Oh, dude, I bet the pawn shops are really depressing. Oh.
That's where that one show was at, right? The pawn shop.
Oh, Pawn Stars? Yeah.
Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Chumlee.
Get involved in the program. 314-881-TMA5 EDF group text inbox. Email in for Albert Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. And call in 636-9004-TMA. James Carlton has 325 5-star reviews. This one just posted 3 weeks ago by Ellie MacArthur. Quote, "We have been State Farm customers for 40 plus years. My daughter had a freak issue with her car. We were out of town at the time. The claim was not an easy one based upon several difficult and unusual factors. Stephanie kept in constant contact with us, worked between us, the dealership where the car was towed, and the State Farm corporate claims team. Her hard work and determination was the key to getting the claim successfully resolved. I firmly believe without her strong claims experience and her commitment to us as the insured, this would not have ended well. Thanks again, Stephanie." That's from Ellie MacArthur on the James Carlton Google reviews. 325 5-star reviews for James Carlton and his staff on Google. He is my insurance agent, and I would love for him to become your insurance agent. 314-961-4800 or go online at carltoninsurance.net. If you are in the market for a home, work with Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty. He has been doing it in St. Louis for more than 2 decades and $500 million in sales. It's tough right now because a house goes on the market, it's gone very quickly because there just isn't a lot of supply. So having a real estate agent in the know who might have some info that could be valuable to beat people to the punch on a home, that is where you need a connection like Jeff Lotman. JEFFLOTTMANN.com. That's Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty. He switched to Compass to establish Compass as the luxury brand in St. Louis. He sold the most expensive home in St. Louis history, was written about in the Wall Street Journal, but it's not just about high price points. Luxury is an experience, not a price point. Jeff Lotman's at JEFFLOTTMANN.com. That's JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty. Once you find the house you want, you got to get the home, and you get it with Ryan Kelly at thehomeloanexpert.com. Get pre-approved with Ryan Kelly so you are ready to go, because it is going to be competitive when the time comes when the home you want is on the market. I assure you of that. People are telling stories. Kind of brings you back to 2021. Different reasoning this time, but people are putting bids in that are above asking price. Make sure you are ready to go. You cannot wait. Get taken care of with thehomeloanexpert.com. I've been pre-approved with thehomeloanexpert.com. Super easy process. And I've also refinanced with Ryan Kelly. And I've sent my family members and friends to Ryan Kelly over the years. He is thehomeloanexpert.com. And that is where you can begin the process of finding your dream home with Ryan Kelly, thehomeloanexpert.com. Send your emails in for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Comes your way at 9:45 on Balloon Party. Jackson and I will get our asses ripped. But Taylor Twellman will be with us to talk doggies. 7 points clear of LAFC in the Western Conference. And what do we have coming your way today, in addition to Taylor Twellman, presented by Together Credit Union on Balloon Party, which is driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. What pray tell?
We'll have the Little Pills half and half.
Half and half.
And I'm also curious Taylor's opinion on where he thinks Inter Miami and Messi can go, because they've looked unstoppable when looking like an absolute dumpster fire. Yeah, winning the League's Cup with that sick shootout. I wonder where he thinks what the ceiling is, or what this team would look like if Messi had been there the whole year. I think that's such an interesting story. I think we're living in a really cool time if you like soccer here in America.
They are at what a random thing. They win the League's Cup, but they're in last place in the Eastern Conference, and they have the fewest amount of points of any team in MLS. So that's last out of 29 teams. But keep in mind, 8 and 9 play a wild card game to get into the playoffs in each conference, and that they are 14 back of the 9th place team, the Chicago Fire.
Yeah, imagine seeing you.
Messi against the Dogs for the whole shooting match.
That would be incredible. That would be so awesome. But like, imagine if you're like the number 1 seed in the East, and you get the 1 seed, and you gotta go up against best of 3 series against Messi, Sergio Busquets, and Jordi Alba.
It seems a little unfair
Right. Well,
midway through the year, but I get
that's how soccer works. Transfer window. There's always a secondary transfer window in the middle of the season.
But it's just there's so many leagues that you can pick from in terms of that.
It's like a trade deadline in baseball.
Yeah, that's God. What a pickup! Because they look like the best team in the freaking league now.
Yeah, that is tough because like there's fantasy EPL out there, and Harry Kane, who is one of the best strikers in English Premier League, got transferred to Germany like 2 days before the season started. So people who picked him with like the 3rd overall pick are screwed because not only did he get traded, he got traded out of the league. He's no longer playing in that league, so it's brutal.
Side note: Christian Pulisic looks legit on AC Milan.
Captain America.
That's all coming your way at about, 10:15, 10:30, and 10:30?
12 and 10:30, all of the fun and games around that in the minutes before and after.
There it is, Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. We'll take a commercial break, come back with our 9 o'clock hour here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2.
This is Doug Biggs from the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm, and I want to talk to you about what happens when you get in a car accident. Hopefully most of you never will be, but if you are, the first few days after an accident can be critical. Unfortunately, from the moment your case begins, the insurance company is going to be working against you trying to minimize their payout. You're probably going to get a call from an adjuster who seems nice, who seems worried about your well-being, but what they're actually trying to do is get a statement from you to use against you later. Insurance companies have specialized systems and thousands of workers who follow a playbook to pay you as little money as possible. At Longo Biggs Injury Law, we know the playbook and we can fight back. If you or a loved one is injured in an accident, visit our website or Google Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Okay.
Hot takes.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Stroh. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini. Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at TMASTL.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever.
If you're like most folks, you probably added some credit card debt over the summer. Vacations, projects around the house, just living costs an arm and a leg these days. Have you thought about a cash-out refinance? Maybe you think that mortgage rates are too high. Take a look at those credit cards. Most of them are in the 20% range. With a cash-out refinance, you can pay off your credit cards, and when mortgage interest rates come down, we will refinance your loan with no lender fees to save you even more money. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Want to play golf with Tim McKernan? Go to the TMA app for a chance to win win a round of golf for you and a guest at Norwood Hills Country Club to play with Tim McKernan Monday, September 11th, the day after the Ascension Charity Classic Tournament. And if you win, you'll get Ascension Charity Classic swag with lunch and drinks included on the course. Don't miss your chance to play golf with Tim McKernan. Find out more on the TMA app or at TMASTL.com.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Are you tired of practicing on a brown and patchy playing field? Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to the perfect solution. Introducing Clubhouse Turf, your one-stop destination for sport turf. Our sport turf is engineered for champions, providing a safe and high-performance playing surface for all your favorite games. Baseball, football, soccer, you name it. With Clubhouse Turf, every game becomes a legendary showdown. Don't wait any longer. Call us now at 314-834-2339 or visit us online at www.clubhouseturf.com. Clubhouse Turf, elevate your game and make your dreams come true.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. Illinois Recovery Center is the new premier inpatient substance abuse facility in Swansea, Illinois. When it comes to the disease of addiction, getting help should not be as difficult as it currently is. The Illinois Recovery Center's mission is to be the receiving hand in the community when someone seeks help. The IRC delivers a comprehensive system of care that welcomes both the individual struggling and family alike. If you or someone you know wants to learn about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Come back.
Now, back to the Ryan Kelly Morning After on KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
Kelly Morning After here on 105.7 HD2, on YouTube, on TMA STL app, on TMASTL.com. Where else, Jackson?
You can hear us in the lobby of Hubbard.
Yeah.
And in the bathroom.
And in the bathroom. We play better.
Oh, somebody switched it on in the bathroom?
Yeah, we play better in bathrooms.
I feel like when I go in the Hubbard restroom, before I prejudice the jury, what station do you hear the most?
101.
Hey, for the record, for the audience, I'm talking like the audience knows this goes on. They play a station, and you can switch it on. So the person going in there, like if they're going in there to pack a lunch, so to speak,
right?
You can pick the station you listen to. Usually I use the little wizards right next to here, more often than not. But if I'm using little wizards during Balloon Party, I'll go because that's down the hallway further, closer to that restroom. What station do you hear the most in the restroom?
I'd say it's a tie between 101 ESPN and 105.7 The Point.
Plowhawk.
I would say 105.7 The Point in the main bathroom would be what I hear the most.
KG Noto.
I agree with Plowsy, 105.7.
But they do, like I said, they do play Balloon Party.
I hear 101 ESPN, I feel like 90% of the time, and honestly, I'm surprised. But that's what I hear in the restroom.
Yeah, I usually hit
or maybe right at 10 o'clock when Balloon Party, everybody just rushes in there and just switches it over.
Switches it to,
Balloon Party.
Switches it to, well, I think all of St. Louis stops what they're doing. Like, they're like, oh, we have this, like, we're going to take a recess from this court case because Tim and Jackson are about to do the Little Piddles Friday six-shooter. And,
right.
And they shut it, then they do an hour-long recess, and they come right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a shot at anybody. It's just, you recognize greatness, baby.
Game recognized game, hoes do too.
Nice. I like to put on Remy and Casey when I go in there.
Is that right?
Yeah. Just makes everything flow better.
Huh. I'm trying to decipher. I like Remy and Casey a lot. It's tough to hear like shows that are on at the same time. Like I rarely hear the Riz Show. I know they're really good. I just when you're on the air at the same time, it's tough. Maybe I should podcast. Could be my play. Usually, I got my set of podcasts I listen to, and it's tough for me to differentiate. I got to load some up for tomorrow.
I assume Holly Randall's up. One of them.
Holly Randall is not. What's Holly Randall doing on?
She interviews adult
world?
stars. I believe I went to get the Billy Walters book. I believe that should be in my library today.
It was coming out today.
Today is, yes, it is. Oh, there it is. I can't wait to listen to this one.
So audiobook?
Audiobook.
So when you're driving, you'll just fire it up?
That's correct.
I've tried doing the audiobook thing.
It's great for a long, like when I would drive to Jupiter, I would listen to book. I can't wait to listen. It's 10 hours and 56 minutes. What is my podcast library? Let's see what I got. I'm listening to Bill Maher on the way out here today. A lot of golf podcasts. Yeah. There's QFTA. I look hot. I look like a little slut, and I like that.
I made sure to
make sure that I look like a slut.
When we came over here, they're like, "Do you want to use this picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, Tim kind of looks like a little slut in it, so we're gonna keep it."
Clip that off.
It was a good QFTA yesterday.
Hey, thanks, KG.
You liked it? It was a quick. I feel like
put yourself on the clock.
I did. It's first time ever. More so than I even do on 101 ESPN. I'm like, people sending these emails. I think some people might get like. Well, it's not that they. Well, here's the thing with the text inbox. I think there is a thought process that we only get like 10 texts.
Yeah.
And I would hold it up. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't want to show phone numbers. That's the issue. But we get so many texts, it's not a case of going, oh, we won't read that one. It's just when I happen to look and then read them. And then people feel like, oh, they don't like my stuff. Same thing with QFTA. So I want to try to get to as many as possible because QFTA is just ADD theater, my ADD. I'll go off on something for like an hour and I only do one of the emails. So I'm like, yesterday, let me get through all the ones that I set aside that I thought were good for the month of August, and we tended to those. What were they? They were about Mizzou's season. This guy was skeptical of them going over 6.5, and he wasn't like angry college sports guy. He was just going, if you look at the schedule, I don't know if they're going to be. And I saw Gabe writing about this yesterday. He said Missouri's going to be favored. It's tough to say because obviously things change. Injuries certainly can materially change things. He goes, right now I would say Missouri's going to be favored probably, I think he said 4 games, maybe 5. So that's
certainly the cupcakes.
That's a bit eye-opening from those of us that are handing you $10,000 as a drug mule to get on a plane tomorrow for the
get
over.
My ass ready.
Yeah, that'll be hot. Let's see.
Politics.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do that on this, but I'll talk about anything on QFTA. And winter is coming more intensely.
There was an interesting asinine Iggy theory yesterday.
Oh yeah, that Iggy is texting in the predictions
about his own stories.
That he's got a burner phone.
And Jackson and I immediately.
That's real?
That was
Shut
sent
that
in.
down real quick.
There was another theory along with that theory, and I can't remember.
That he has a plant, someone who will. Text
who texts in the things.
Yeah.
No, I can tell you that I don't even know the password to get into the text inbox.
Well, there's that element, but then also what Jackson and I know, because Jackson and I are the only ones who have the text inbox up, unless KG No Town, you might have it up. Okay, is that it's like a large number of people who try to guess the Iggy story, so it's not just like one person.
Right, and they're like verified, like they have a name in the text inbox kind of thing. And the idea of Iggy having a burner phone just at the ready to text it in himself would be crazy.
Or that he was collaborating with somebody, telling them which stories were going to come up.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the theory.
With a cracked screen now, which I don't like. That's so ugly looking. I get that fixed.
Your screen, baby?
Well, it really hampers me when if I watch porn, I make it bigger and turn it sideways.
Right.
And then
full screen.
And then those cracks are down at the bottom where it almost looks like it's a bush. Kind of
so vivid.
Interferes with things.
Your cracked phone is adding bush?
Yeah, it's because it's kind of craggly and it's black. So
go into Samsung and tell them, hey, get rid of this. I'm tired of looking at bush.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You were talking about podcasts, Tim. And it ties into the show. Are you familiar with Pete Holmes and Mark Maron?
Mark Maron, yeah.
Yep.
They both do podcasts. They're both at Helium Comedy Club in the next couple of weeks, and I think I can get them in studio if you're interested in those two.
Mark Maron in studio?
Mark Maron and Pete Holmes.
Are they both coming together?
No,
How would this work?
I think they're like a week apart. I think one is here on Thursday, September 7th. The other
I
one's
am really surprised Maron would do that.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to, and they're both at Helium.
I mean,
so.
Mark Maron's kind of a
his podcast.
In as far when it comes to podcast, I mean, he's one of the
gets Leo
all-timers.
on there.
And Pete Holmes started Crashing, which I thought was
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio on his podcast.
Mark Maron. He had Leo and Brad Pitt when they were doing Once Upon a Time in
Really?
Hollywood on the press tour. Yeah.
And I thought Crashing was a great HBO.
I enjoyed that program.
And Pete Holmes was the writer of that. And I think Jay Farrell's coming in town too. And other than his imitations on Saturday Night Live, I don't.
I think he's really funny. I think Jay
Well,
Farrell.
Yeah, I'd be all three of those.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, and what was the day? I guess I was out for a tournament a couple weeks ago, but Melissa Villasenor was in. I would have been on board with her.
No, I didn't ask about that one.
Well, I was out anyway because I was out. I knew I was going to be off that day.
I didn't know who she was. So
Pete Holmes is hilarious as well. Both would be big gets. That is from Mrs. Gianni Shanahan. Tim, I am in the middle. Tim, is there one or two of your podcast interviews that you view highly? I am in the middle of a long drive and would love to get to visit your favorite interviews. God. It depends on what you're in the mood for. Of our audience, let's take the 101 thing out of it. Let's focus on our audience, Jackson. And so we get to experience both that 101 situation and TMA.
Yep.
And there's absolutely a difference. What percentage of the TMA audience, everybody think of a number internally, Plowhawk, KG O-Town, what percentage of our audience is a Missouri football fan, an active fan of Missouri? Plowhawk, I'm going to let you lead off.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I'm going to do 9%.
Wow. That's super low in my opinion.
But it depends on what your definition of fan is. Like,
Somebody
my
who is
local
looking-
team, I'm watching Missouri.
I'm not a fan of Illinois. I don't cheer against Illinois. If they're on, I'm going to watch them. I think Illinois is undercovered in St. Louis, which I think is a bad business
Correct.
model. But I'm not a fan of Illinois. I'm an active fan of Missouri. If Missouri is in the mix for a championship and they lose, it will bring my mood down.
I think 9 to 12% with that definition.
That's
I
interesting to me. What do you think, Iggy?
the entire listening audience, or the ones that text in?
TMA, no, TMA audience.
What do you consider a fan?
I thought I just did this. Did I just do this? Am I in a time warp?
Like, it's going to ruin your day if they lose. They're watching it consistently week in, week out.
I'll say 42%.
Wow, so we have a big discrepancy on the plow. KG and O-Town.
Well, it depends on what you consider a fan.
I knew it.
28%.
Okay.
Well, you went right in the middle. Wow.
That seems
Jackson, what are you going to
aggressive.
go with here? Now, you are... Well, I just feel like I might be the biggest Missouri football fan. You're clearly the biggest Missouri basketball fan.
Yeah,
If
still a
I
fan.
cared more about college basketball, I'm sure because I was a huge Missouri basketball fan. I just can't get into it.
Nothing will ever stop me, baby.
Oh, I know. That's fine. If anything, I'm jealous of your fandom. It would give me another thing to care about, especially when there's nothing going on.
37%.
Yeah, I think it's probably and for Missouri fans, it'll shock them to hear it's that low.
Right.
And then I'm sure there are some people who just don't care about college sports, which is a thing in St. Louis, or went to Illinois or went to Indiana or something like that. I think it's somewhere in the 30%.
Mhm.
And weirdly, by the way, I think it might be less on 101.
Oh, yeah, I would say almost certainly.
And what a strange thing. And to me, that's like something. There was somebody, I guess I shouldn't give the names, I don't think they wanted their name out there, but in a position of power at Missouri and recognized that there was, a following with this thing and Balloon Party and wanted to talk about the media in St. Louis and in Missouri. And I keep hammering home, there is an opportunity here. I just don't feel like they market it. And I'm going to be a Missouri fan one way or the other. But you have a big market, the biggest market in the country, minus Orlando, that doesn't have an NFL team, and therefore needs a football team to pull for. And you're in the SEC. This isn't like, same from Illinois' standpoint, being in Big Ten. It's one of the two big conferences left. I would capitalize on that all day long. And I know they're playing Memphis and St. Louis. I understand that. But I'm talking about an overall campaign, and I feel like it's missing out because, assuming that they get LSU anytime other than 11 o'clock, and the Cardinals are out of the playoffs, you have no NFL team, the Blues regular season hasn't started. and the Dogs may be playing, but it'll be at the tail end of the season. You know, playoffs won't start there for a little while. Capitalize on that. Get down to Columbia and experience what is a world-class college football atmosphere, especially with LSU. I mean, those people travel like crazy, and it could be a big game for both teams, as weird as that sounds. I think probably when Kerry Davis was in here, we talked a little bit about it, and he said something along the lines of, you know, you got to win. And I think most people are like casual, they still view Missouri as a joke. I focus on 2007 and 2013, and understandably, everybody else goes, well, what about all of the other years? You know, and granted, there was 2008 and 10 and 14, but still, you got to win. And I think Missouri might be viewed as a punchline, and or people just aren't into college sports. But whatever, you know what I say? Some people like things, and some people like
other things.
Yeah, I think that there's...
Anyway, the reason why, I'm sorry, the reason why I brought that up is the Gary Pinkel interview, which was my first interview, if you're a Missouri fan, is essentially his life story. And he really got into some things, and that was one that stands out to me. That was really good. One that Jay Nixon was really good, former governor.
There's some great nuggets in the interview about the Rams leaving. And
the Rams leaving, how he sat down with David Stern. He books this meeting with David Stern. Yeah, this will get you going.
I know. I've listened. It's brutal.
So he flies up to New York. Stern's still the NBA commissioner. He's the governor, and he's pitching him this idea for the NBA to put a team in St. Louis with half the games, home games in St. Louis, half the games in Kansas City. And Stern goes, yeah, I am aware of your idea. Not going to happen. But we still have 58 minutes left, so let's talk about it.
Talk about Tim Duncan or something.
Yeah, so you got that. But I mean, it's not all sports by any means. Joe Bucks are always good.
Yeah.
Those would fall into the evergreen category. I'm trying to think what else. Those are some that are coming right to mind. Dave Peacock, people were really looking forward to that one, but I knew going in that one wasn't going to live up to it, not because of Peacock, but because I knew he wasn't going to be all open about what was going on because the litigation was still ongoing. So that one wasn't going to live up to hype. There's a lot of local St. Louis stuff in there. I talked a little bit about this yesterday on QFTA. Whether it be interviews with, government officials in St. Louis, I'm just not real. I'm not a believer, I suppose. So therefore, it's tough for me to engage in those now. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of BS. And therefore, it doesn't really stimulate me.
I didn't listen.
Kelly Chase interview right after they won the Cup. Yeah, I mean, you have Chase. Yeah, if you want to go in a good I apologize, Iggy.
No, whenever I don't talk...
Jesus Christ, you don't have to shut the mic.
Whenever I don't talk, I move it away.
Okay.
So people won't hear the breathing. When I'm not talking, I move it.
Chase, Armstrong, Maroon, and Berube, like back-to-back right after they won the Cup.
And Pete wept in one of those interviews?
Gangster Pete wept in every interview.
Yeah, and especially, the Pinker one.
It wasn't
I don't think he wept in the Pinker. Seymour was at that bit on the
shame those weren't on YouTube live at the time.
God almighty.
It wasn't on your podcast, but when Kelly Chase was on the day after Mike Shannon passed, that was a great interview.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah,
that's a sneaker play.
Yeah, and that would be easy to find.
And I was hesitant to do that because Chase is a wide delta guest. If he's in a pissy mood, it's like, oh boy. But if he's in a great mood, it's going to be the best stories. Yeah, it was really good. That's right, man. But his story of when the Blues won the Cup, and it really is like a movie. Because when the Blues won the Cup, I thought of two people. I thought of Bobby Plager, and I thought of Kelly Chase. That's who I thought of. And certainly the people who would be in the upper bowl back at the arena in the crappy years and so on and so forth. But those are the two guys I saw. And the fact that Kelly Chase was driving back, I think from Nashville, and was by himself, and he pulls over on Highway 40, I-64, right outside of Busch Stadium to listen to Chris Kerber's call, a broadcast he was a part of a year ago, to listen to the team he has lived and died for what is at this point, 30-plus years, win the Stanley Cup. I mean, it's like a movie. It's like the end of a movie scene.
Yeah,
100%,
100%. That's incredible. Yeah, I've the Kelly Chase one on TMA as of recently was really fantastic. Him telling those great stories about Shannon. I'm trying to think of some of the podcasts because I've listened to a ton of the interviews, and I'm trying to think of ones that really stand out to me. I love Anytime Learns In. I think that's really good stuff.
924.
By Jackson, no.
Yeah, that's probably the latest it's been. I can't imagine there have been a much later one, and also not done by Iggy.
Yeah, that's.
Wait, he's got a Learn sticker. I thought you were about to give me the finger.
Sticker?
She's been here the whole day. Yeah.
Is that new? Who bought?
About a month. I guess about a week after she started the show, they made.
But that's the thing they do. They have stickers.
We get stickers,
Yeah,
animated.
stickers.
Didn't that work out great when you guys had animation characters on your
Caricatures.
T-shirts and somebody looked like John Candy
like the
or
Three
something?
Stooges.
Martin looked like Jay Leno. The cat had a fade. They accentuated the lopsided nature of my head. It was
Somebody
wonderful.
had a nose that looked like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah,
Caricatures of the show, I think, will be fun.
that's the T-shirt that got Prod Joe whacked. The one with Rich Gould is a go-to. Great answer by Randy Character. Yeah, Rich Gould was
Randy's listening?
Randy Character. Yes, that's where Rich Gould was insinuating that I had a stable of boys who worked for me. Yeah, God, that was good. That's a great call.
Whenever he was on, when he retired and he came on, we were still at KFNS. When he came on the show, it was like having like a world-class comedian on. We just all cleared out, and the only
It's like
time
when
you'd hear us
Don
is
Rickles
laugh.
would be on
Yeah.
Johnny Carson.
Right. It was just all you could hear us. We weren't asking questions. We would just laugh. That's where the Strode Family Game Night drop comes from.
Yikes.
So-
I've never heard the interview. What was, and I think I lined it up. What was Bobby McCullough? Was that any good? He had just retired.
Bobby McCormick or Robert McCullough?
I call him Bobby.
Okay.
Robert McCullough. He had
Yes,
just
that was
retired,
on
I
there.
think.
That was on there. No, he hadn't.
Hadn't he retired?
He had not. He was running against Wesley Bell. And to be dead serious, I didn't even know he was. But that's the same thing with Mark Mantovani. I had no idea that he was even running for county executive. Somebody had put us together. I'm obviously grateful now that he's the chairman of Sound Story. I'm certainly very grateful that they connected. And in the same case with Robert McCullough, I didn't even know there was an election, and he winds up losing to Wesley Bell, as you know. So we went deep on the Ferguson thing, big time.
I figured that
deep. So that's certainly there. I don't know
He
if how
took
many
so
people
much
wanna-
flack for that, and I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do as a prosecutor.
for people who I don't know how many people want to relive. I mean, God, you're talking about that's been 9 years now. I was 14, right?
Right when I started listening to the show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the summer before that had happened. I guess a couple months before I got the album in August. But yeah, I remember vividly.
You should put all the interviews from your show with Edmonds up sometime. The one with David Justice was nuts. Seymour and I were texting about that a few months ago, and I don't know where those are. A buddy of mine has them. I'd love to find those. Those were so good. Those should be in the skeleton. They would be evergreen. Pete Rose was on multiple times. Brett Favre was on multiple times.
Did you own the program back then?
Oh yeah, that's when we were 920.
Yeah,
so it's our property.
They should be somewhere.
Again, it was a decade ago, so the system's certainly different. We've made sure on the TMA archives, but I mean, it's like all the programming at 920 theoretically would be the property of Inside STL, but it's not like we have your show with Ron Gautier saved.
No, I can't believe you
Should
didn't say
be,
those
though.
in a vault. Yeah, they should be gold.
Does that mean Rich and Maryland Heights show is somewhere out there in the ether?
He was on the weekends. That was Bert Kaufman's. Tim, one of your interns is urinating in the grate.
What a weird protest. Like, that's like, because you said he was like a normal guy, right? But like,
who are we talking about? The intern?
The intern who would piss in the grate.
Had no idea, because he goes, one of your guys is, and he called me in. I'm like, oh my God, what could it possibly be? Yeah, one of your guys, and we didn't know it was an intern. I thought, oh God, I mean, I've been working with the cat for a decade. Does he piss in a grate? Doug, I mean, does Doug piss in a grate? And I'm going, what in the world could it be? And it was this one intern. For whatever reason, I mean, the toilet was right there, and then the grate was right next to it on the floor, and for whatever reason, he pissed in the grate.
That's like something you do at Harpo's at midnight 30 after.
It was a private
triple
restroom.
Ls.
It wasn't like a restroom with like 5 urinals. It was
Oh.
a private restroom with a closed door.
so
it's like the
weird.
thing next to us right here. It's like if people just started pissing in the grate. Now, I don't think there's a grate in there. It'd be weird if there was, but maybe there is. Hell, I don't know.
So it
We're on the second floor of a building above a restaurant. I doubt there is.
So
Well,
it clearly
it's like
wasn't an
taking
aim
a-
problem.
It's like taking a dump on the wall. I mean, how does that happen?
You got Plowhawk can answer
splatter
that.
patterns. I mean,
You cleaned that up, didn't you, Plowhawk?
no, it was Kevy Kev. We got the. Remember, I brought in the ice
knife?
scraper. No, it was an ice scraper from my car, and he took the ice scraper. And got a chunk in the bag for DNA.
Sports Talk Radio.
Tim, your interview with Rizzuto would have been great, but you just can't hear it. Not blaming anyone. Iggy, and that's from Painter Guy.
That's my worst nightmare. What happened in...
That's my worst nightmare for Sound Story.
Yeah, certainly.
That is, and here we are, hundreds of them in, and it has not happened. But
I got you,
inevitably,
I got you.
but I mean, you're not going to be, as the
Well,
company
the Courtney one was
grows.
scary when we did
Courtney
it in
runs her
another
own
studio.
board, right?
Yeah, that not being in this studio scares me because I am not familiar with the other board, so I always freak out not being in here doing them.
Tim, what about the Buck and McKernan show? That was a good week. Yeah, that was Charlie Sheen right after his, whatever that was.
Yeah, banging 7-gram rocks.
That was
he had a-
Alex Rodriguez, Wayne Gretzky, Troy Aikman, Bob Costas, John Hamm, Paul Rudd.
Jesus.
It was nonstop.
Oh, my God.
And Joe didn't get, I said, this is going to be different than the HBO show. We played the clip from the HBO show in the 8 o'clock hour. He's like, I don't want to bother these people. He goes, they didn't really want to do the thing with the HBO show. I go, this is different. This is them calling in. You can just text them.
Yeah, it is way different.
And we really were going to do a show. I mean, that's no BS. And then FS1 launched later that year, and he thought he was going to be doing something. And so it didn't happen. And also, I mean, realistically, there's always a kind of a cost-benefit analysis. And if you're making, it doesn't matter. Like, if somehow he would have been able to make even $2 million from our show, honestly, I don't even know if it's worth it. It's not worth. I mean, as weird as that might sound, but if you're making this, and then you now have to work 5 days a week to make $2 million, it kind of isn't worth your time.
No,
I
makes
know
sense.
that may sound
No,
odd, but
makes
that's certainly
Was the HBO show with Buck the one where he interviewed Jeter, or was that a different thing?
no. That was the Artie Lang situation.
Got it.
Artie might have been on the one with us on the Buck and McKernan show. I don't know where that one is. I don't know. I mean, if somebody has this stuff, please. The Mike Bush one was pretty good. Speaking of someone who grew up here, that's a good call. That was really good. He was really good. Savard was really good. The Kevin Nealon interviews were both epic and genuine. I was thinking that because I saw him on some game show the other night. And what stands out to me about Kevin Nealon when he's been in studio with us is he gets asked those questions, probably got asked those questions 3 times alone just in our building about Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
And then anytime he does stops around the country, and he has a way of answering it like he's never been asked about it before.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that interview, and I think that's why the first time, me, the Cat, and Doug, and then the most recent time when we were all in studio, why we're so comfortable asking those questions, because you can kind of tell, either with the vocal pattern or the body language, if somebody's kind of like, yeah, I mean, Chris Farley was super talented. Oh, God, he don't want to talk about it. But he would answer it, and he'd go, yeah, and so it's like this sincerity, and then that brings the audience in, but then it also is us asking the questions. We're comfortable asking questions that when you take a step back, you go, this dude's been asked this, I mean, for real, probably 500 times.
30 years, yeah. It's all those guys who are kind of on the periphery of Sandler's class of the SNL guys. Tim Meadows is another great example of that, or like Matt Walsh, who have like secondary roles in a lot of movies and TV shows. Like, I'm sure all they get asked when they go on tour and do promotion is like, what was Chris Farley like? How cool was Sandler? What's it like working with Chris Rock? And like maybe like for Neil, and they'll get around to Happy Gilmore. Like, I'm sure he's answered the same questions for 30 years.
But the way he's able to answer it, and I don't know, and I'd be curious, like if I asked him off the air, but I feel like he's always kind of in a character mode.
Sure.
Because to me, that's such a great tribute that he's able to do that, and then it makes his interviews so great, and then I think more people are going to his shows because of it.
Sure, yeah.
So he gets positive EV out of going in to do these radio shows that most comics loathe, which is going into the local morning shows and doing the tour. Let's see, Tim. So why no more interviews? That's from the 314. It's a great question. Honestly, I have to pick and choose what I'm going to do, and I'll be real transparent with the audience. I was kind of thinking about maybe saying goodbye to Balloon Party, just with what we're doing with Sound Story, and I'm not leaving TMA anytime soon anyway. But I signed an extension to do Balloon Party through 2023 yesterday, as a matter of fact. 2024, so next year. So Balloon Party will continue, but I can't do TMA, Balloon Party, Tim McKernan Show podcast, Sound Story, be a husband, a father of two, and then I know how much work goes into also doing the interviews, and that's a process. I mean, Iggy's booked guests. That's not an easy thing to do. And then when we started doing it in 2017, the world is different now. We had people coming in studio, and now most interviews are done over Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can still get great interviews over Zoom. I think they're better if they're in studio, but at this point, if somebody asked me to be on their podcast, I'd just be like, yeah, I'll pop up on Zoom and I'll be happy to do it, but I'm not even driving 5 minutes away, you know?
Right. Yeah,
so anyway, that's the answer to the question. You know, but I love doing it. I love doing the Tim McKernan Show. I love doing the QFTA thing with you. I think that's when I'm at my best.
Most unencumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll talk politics and sex stories and I can cuss.
Yeah, plus it's not live. It's the one show we do that isn't live.
Yeah, but we never go, let's cut that out.
Never.
At KFNS we did, because sometimes I'd go, yeah, that might get somebody fired if we tell that story.
There's times where we sat on some things and let it marinate in our heads for a little bit. But yeah, it is weird that for two guys who do 4 hours a day of live radio, we go on a podcast where we can edit what we want out, and we never, ever do.
Tim, I love the Dave Glover one. That's from the 573. Yeah, the ones with the local radio people. Frank Opinion was a great one. That was another great one. Uncle Cucker. That'd be a good one. Because that guy really wrote. Without Frank Opinion, TMA doesn't exist.
Ooh. That's a nice.
100%. 100%. It may have existed, but it wouldn't still be going for 19 years. Because it was Frank Opinion's business model that I said, that's what we need to do. Because they're not going to hire 5 or 6 people and pay them enough for, guys who aren't going to take, whatever certain dollar figures. So this is the only way it's going to work. And Frank Opinion's business model is the one that I heard about at KTRS, and that is somebody yesterday, a guy we all know, TJ Weber, as a matter of fact. I'll give the name. And you worked with him, right, Plowhawk?
Love TJ.
That was the first pitch?
Yeah.
I loved that show.
It was a great show.
Weezer, and TJ Weber.
It was great. I listened to it on the way to work at the golf course.
And somebody asked me about intellectual property, and I guess we talked about that. He listened to the podcast yesterday, and he goes, so how did you go about doing that? Was it trademark? And I go, no. When 1380 said, we can't pay you, Doug, and the cat anymore, but you can stay. You just have to sell all of your own advertising, which goes back to the Frank Opinion thing. And then KFNS was offering me afternoons, and it was going to pay me more, probably about 30% more, so it counted. I mean, it wasn't like a 2% raise. And that's where the story I've told, my dad said, Timmy, they're both S-holes. If I'm going to be an S-hole, I'd rather control my own destiny.
Good advice.
But also that, along with, as it turns out, as we discovered, I think on the air, that I remember seeing an adult film star talking on Howard Stern saying how she owns all of her content, and it turns out it was Lisa Ann.
Oh, wow.
And of course, we didn't know Lisa Ann at the time, but I knew she did, and now she does, and now she makes God only knows how much money just by repurposing it and putting it on OnlyFans.
So it's such a good business.
So you're just making money off something you already own.
Passive income.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why she talks about like spending money, and it's not really a brag. It's just she did it. She took the chance. She made these smart business moves, and now she's benefiting from it. But he was asking about owning the show, and I don't know where he's doing shows. But if you have a podcast, then you own that IP. But for a radio show, usually, like right now, I don't own the IP of Balloon Party. Hubbard does. But it is a very specific thing. It's one of the reasons why my contract was such it's still a running joke here, because there were 20, or was it 45 versions, 20 or 45 versions of my contract. But it was all about the intellectual property law, because Inside STL owns TMA dating back to that time at Simmons, which owned 1380 in 2009. And I only did it dead serious because I remember this interview on the Stern Show where the person said, "Gotta own all your IP. Gotta own all your IP." I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
That was
but then
before
that became the big
involved.
thing with
Yeah.
the girls on, what's the Call Her Daddy?
Yeah, the
right?
Call Her Daddy. That's the they
And
got
was
$60 million off of it.
So you got to own your IP. And TJ was asking about trademarks and all that. And that's one conversation. But the IP thing, that's what has allowed us to have all these drops in TMA all day. Because some of these shows Plowhawk's playing are from 920, some are from 590, some are from 1380.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously some are from here.
Yeah, you're not contingent on a third party. If you can stay afloat, then you can stay afloat if you own your own IP.
Well, we own the Man to Woman Prep Conference, which is one of the best things we have
Oh,
ever
my God.
owned. The best thing we
100%.
have.
Most valuable asset.
It's an hour.
Maybe our
of
most valuable asset. That alone.
Just having that audio.
Oh, you could
It
sell
was
that.
so
in
great that he did that to try to piss us off by putting it in our time slot. And right when he did it, I go, oh my God, I'm going to own this.
Forever.
But I never knew it would be as big of a joke as it wound up being.
Oh,
that I would wet myself.
Yeah, it's like if Game
One of the
7, if the
best.
Cardinals would have lost Game 7 against the Rangers, it wouldn't play as well at the David Freeze.
Right.
But the fact that the man and the woman shut down, Iggy, you can speak to this, essentially before it got started, makes it better.
Oh, I wasn't there. They were already hemorrhaging money after like our first paychecks. We're like, and then they moved to a new studio. We're like, oh, this is sweet. And then the picket fences came out, and
People
the
were on strike.
construction workers weren't being paid, and so they stopped construction on the studio that we're in. It's like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, that wasn't it.
And you had to cross a picket line
No,
just
that was
to get
that
into
was
the-
Ranieri. Those guys had been on strike for 2 years.
Outside of our building?
Yeah, there was people picketing Ranieri because Ranieri wasn't union, and they were out there every day for 2
Oh,
years.
okay. I
just
thought those
saying,
were okay. I got you.
No,
I
our
got you.
studios were done. We just couldn't pay for it. Couldn't afford it. I mean, some days again the lights are out.
Wouldn't the lights be out when it was like the power was out when it was
Yeah.
a beautiful day?
There's no power. Marshall would say, checking with the power company, some kind of surge. I go, well, they're on across the street. Idiot, pay the bill.
Hang out at Maggie O'Brien's and see Eddie McVeigh. That's what I would do. I would have you want to go see the doggies play? That's fine. Go to Eddie McVeigh and see him at Maggie O'Brien's, then walk across the street at City Park. Having a party, have it catered by Maggie O'Brien's. My family has done that. We'll continue to do that. It's Maggie O'Brien's in downtown St. Louis. Union Station is next to them. And, of course, in Sunset Hills, where we have had some pre-Dotem broadcasts. Maggie O'Brien's, you know what you're going to get. Great food, great service, family-owned, local operation. 4 decades they've been doing it in downtown St. Louis. It's Maggie O'Brien's in downtown St. Louis. Designing Air Heating and Cooling email today coming your way in a few minutes. Then Jackson and I will head down the hallway and we'll deal with the situation. Jackson, should I announce at the beginning of the show to lift the spirits of the 101 listeners that I signed an extension to take Balloon Party through 2024 yesterday?
Well, you are an ombudsman of proper journalism, and you always lead with the biggest story. And
Right.
is
I
there
think
a bigger
that is.
story?
I think that is the lead.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine anything bigger in St. Louis right now than us
Than the 1 hour
continuing our reign.
reign of terror.
That's right.
God, it's going to upset them so much.
Yeah,
I
well.
think there are people that tune into that show daily, hoping that I drop the F-bomb, which on this show we do, and nobody even really bats an eye.
Yeah, so you guys dropped an F-bomb. If you ain't got no haters, Tim, you ain't popping.
And that is from the Jets.
Bob Sala.
Bob Sala.
Yeah, I can't remember who is the rapper he's quoting. If you ain't got no haters, you got the answer.
KG,
to
no
that?
time, just open his mic. I
Yeah,
think he's
I
about to
heard
give you the answer.
Rico something.
Rico Richey.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Shout out Rico.
We've got breaking news.
Sounds like there's lesbianism
Be a
afoot.
woman involved.
I started listening to TMA in 2010 because my lad would try and get me to do FFF all the time. I had lots of questions. I still do, actually. That's from the Lipstick Lass. You may know her from the TMA broadcast at Salt and Smoke a couple of months ago. And she was, Jackson believes, married.
Yeah.
KG O-Town's founder. Right?
It's just one big tease.
Maybe she should come in for an FFF.
Ever since we started talking about her and she
Who is
realized we were talking about her, now she's making
You were
all
there.
the stuff
Were
up.
you at Salt and Smoke that day?
Yes.
Yeah, she was a good-looking. Iggy, you took a picture of her.
I
You
should
show
definitely
off.
remember a good-looking person that's affiliated with our show. I just don't.
Especially a female. I mean, that's like Halley's Comet.
We haven't.
She's claiming she's been listening for 13 years. She only looked
That is really.
in 30 at most, it looked like, from what I saw.
Oh, you start listening at a young age.
Yeah, they start young.
But I'm a
I
guy.
think a lot of females like at Villa. They
Visitation.
listen, visitation.
You kind of graduate high school and you go, okay, finally, I'm out of high school. I can start listening to
Dad,
TMA.
turn on the AM radio.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on HD2 now?
Make it harder, Daddy. Make it harder,
When you-
Daddy.
when you
Let's change it to HD2.
When you think of this show, you think our listening audience is basically Catholic schoolgirls.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Zadie
base of
Kane, Villa, St. Elizabeth, St. Joseph's.
I think like 2 of those are gone.
St.
Villa
Elizabeth, I've
just
never heard of.
Villa sounds.
I'm just
very
Have you ever
nice.
seen? Have you ever seen Villa Duchesne? Looks like a castle.
I don't think so. I mean, I may have passed it, but I definitely haven't noticed it.
Narings Hall, probably.
I used to start first period late so I could listen to the end of the show.
Seriously?
Yeah, back when I was teaching high school.
How about that?
Do some busy work, kids. Senior's busy.
Yeah, I had study.
Senior.
I had study hall at my first period, and I was just live streaming like the Dickens, trying to make an email to get past the filter file. And now look at me now. I control
Now you control the
now I
filtered
control
file.
the filtered file.
You also control your testosterone as you head to Las Vegas, and that's why I'm higher than 1% on your chances. Check out Mentality today at lowtusa.com. Go to lowtusa.com. Dealing with low energy, low motivation, weight gain, muscle loss. You're tired all the time. You're feeling anxious, moody. You're irritable. You're impatient. Dealing with anxiety, depression. Those are symptoms of low testosterone. Well, Mentality is a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. Testosterone therapy helps men regain normal function and restores the ability to perform normally at all levels. Compete at work and at sports like you did years ago with Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com. That is Mentality. lowtusa.com. And think about it. Tommy Summers is in the YouTube chat, and he says, I like the podcast sods where Gangster Pete would start weeping uncontrollably. It is so out of character when you think about Gangster Pete, and we all know him. KG in O-Town, do you know him? I don't know, maybe you're correct.
I've never met Pete, no.
He came into the job with I don't want to say with more enthusiasm than anybody, because that wouldn't be accurate. Jackson certainly had enthusiasm. But he certainly left with less than anybody ever has.
You mean the discrepancy between start and finish?
Right. Well, he was understandably defeated. We were all dealing with this. Some people were getting furloughed. It was not an easy time. But for somebody who's kind of as emotionless as Gangster Pete, and on top of it, the first interview that got him emotional was Reed Lowe and Cam Jansen. I wouldn't imagine either one of them would describe themselves as orators.
No, they don't really tug at the
or conveyors of emotion. And I remember looking over, and we were in studio, and I go, God, Pete's crying.
Was it because he connected with his dad so much?
That's what it was. 100%. 100%. So it is when it's down to it, it's a beautiful thing. But then when I interviewed Berube and Armstrong, and it was separate, but it was like back to back, down in like where the people hang out. I feel like there's a booze associated with it. I'm looking at Jackson like he has the answer. When the players walk off the ice and onto the ice, there's a name for it.
Blue Note Club?
Yeah, maybe that's it. So that's where I did the interviews, and Pete was back there. And, Armstrong and Berube are recounting the whole journey, because we did this maybe in end of June 2019, early July 2019, I feel like. So it was fresh, and he got emotional. And, it's not, I could see you doing that. I'm not mocking. I could do it.
No, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah. Like if I were interviewing Dennis Gates about a run to the national championship, how would you be handling it?
I'd be weeping. Well, first of all, I would have a Dennis Gates tattoo at that point, so I'd like to show that to him. And then I would weep. And honestly, anyone who considers himself a # true son would do in that situation. If you didn't weep,
weeping.
I would question you. Yeah.
I cried when Borg lost his streak at Wimbledon. He had 5 in a row, and he lost his chance at 6. I wept a little bit in front of the TV.
He could have won 6 Wimbledons in a row. Is that right?
Yeah, he won 5, and I think he lost. I don't think he made it to the finals in the 6th one. It might have been the semis. I think the Connors, maybe McEnroe, probably. But yeah, to win 5 straight Wimbledons and lose that 6th one, I wept. And I get retired the next year at like age 29.
Guys, Pete's choice of how to wear a hat still puzzles me. It's like he was trying to be the walking version of that Steve Buscemi "Hello, fellow kids" meme. That's Alan.
I love the way he wears his hat.
What a great description. Hello, kids. Yeah, hello, fellow kid.
Gangster Pete. Yeah, there needs to be a Swope's Picks. Although I don't know if Swope and Gangster Pete got along. I don't recall the...
Oh, I think Pete didn't like how much Swope tried. It felt like he was trying to one-up Pete as the executive producer.
Is that what it was?
Think.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that.
Uh-oh.
No, a lot of people are like that, not just Swope. Everybody thinks. When I was on the fan page, hey, we need to get this guy on. Who's we? Call him if you want.
I'd love for the listeners to do part of my work. It sounds great.
Right?
Feel free. I mean, KG Nota essentially has
I was
done
gonna say,
that.
I feel like I'm taking some shrapnel here.
No, trust me, I'm a huge fan.
No, I mean, you said you had a guest and he didn't come on, and then you're trying to pump one on me the other night.
Oh.
And I just said, do what you want.
And what are we talking about right now? Are we talking about Heidi Fleiss?
Yeah, I had Heidi Fleiss lined up.
What happened?
Well, Tim should know that because you mentioned Tim in your text a few times.
For the audience's purposes who may not be aware, KG and Otan said, I think I have Heidi Fleiss for tomorrow. And I said, I feel like this would be an interview that Doug and I probably wouldn't have a whole lot to ask. And so therefore, I would ask Iggy if he would like it. And I don't know if Iggy would like it. So I said to KG and Otan, check with Iggy before you book her. That's what I said. Is that an accurate representation of...
Spot on.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I don't know what went on between you two once.
I just said, do what you want. And that's all I said. You know, I said it as a joke. Go out there and have some content, go interview her, and then you go decide to line her up for the show. That made no sense whatsoever. But
wasn't that kind of what you wanted? Just being,
I'm
being
you
objective
guys.
here.
It would be fun for you guys. When am I going to bring her on here and talk?
But I don't
about?
know.
I've already interviewed her twice.
I don't know Heidi. I don't know anything about her.
Well, it wouldn't be tough to look it up. I mean, she's a Hollywood madam. She was in charge of servicing like half of Hollywood males.
I imagine like L.A. Confidential, Kim Basinger.
I mean, she was at dinner with Nancy Reagan. I mean, for God's sake, she was.
So I'm supposed to ask her about Nancy Reagan?
What I mean, and now she's got.
Just
birds.
say no.
She knew Dennis Hoff real well. There's a lot of things about her that are very fascinating. But
it sounds like a good. Yeah,
but I've interviewed her before,
okay. Right,
so I just said you guys may have some fun with it since you're going to be out there. I didn't need to interview her.
What about Tarico?
Well, didn't come on, did he?
He wasn't.
So what was it? So Heidi Fleiss was going to come on, and you decided not to have her on, KG No-Town?
Well, yeah, just full transparency. I just didn't get the vibe from Iggy like he was really on board with leading that interview, so I did not pursue her the next morning. But she and I talked, and she told me to give her a call the next day, and I just didn't feel like we were on the same page, so I jumped ship there.
Well,
sometimes you got to pull the ripcord.
Yep. Missed opportunity. We'll get him next time.
That's all right. I talked to her.
Oh,
I talked to her too.
No, she said something from St. Louis
We got a
DM'd
big
her.
D contest right here in the studio.
No, she said
Yeah,
somebody.
I talked to her. She said, "Hey."
She said
first.
somebody. No, I want to make sure this wasn't a joke. They did it
flaccid to
before
hard.
with Tarico. So, she goes, I got a DM from somebody in St. Louis, and I said, if I can do it, call me. If I answer, fine. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. So it wasn't lined up. So I just said, don't worry about it. We're not going to call you.
Things are contentious.
I'm kidding.
I'm just being transparent.
No,
break
please.
that awkward tension.
I'm being transparent about my hair situation.
Nice.
Because I use St. Louis Hair Restoration. That's what I use, fellas.
Doug's looking good too.
Doug's got the FUE procedure. He's about 8 weeks out, he says. I'm on this finasteride, and I use this laser cap. It's super easy to use. Move departments, the most valuable thing. I moved things all at once, but when I took the laser cap, I made sure to be delicate with it because I need that because it helps strengthen the regrowth of my hair. And I got a consultation from the fine folks over at St. Louis Hair Restoration.com. Dr. Palinga, Greg Kryling, who's the founder of it, both patients themselves, so they understand what you're going through. If you're looking in the mirror and saying, man, I wish my hair was like it was when I was 21 years old, go check out St. Louis Hair Restoration. Get a consultation.
Do it.
I'm telling you, you might think I don't have anything, there's nothing they can do for me. Just get a consultation with them. These guys are really, really good at what they do. It's stlouishairrestoration.com.
There it is. How about this from the Lipstick Lass? I wonder if she'll come in.
She's great. She seemed great.
Well, you're a fan.
Yeah.
You might marry this girl.
She seems like she's already married, which stinks. But it's not about the right one. It's about the right time.
Wow. She says, I was already out of college in 2010.
No way.
And I still like you, Iggy, even when you're crabby. From the Lipstick Lass.
No way.
I'm
She
not
looked like she
crabby.
was 30 at most.
I'm never crabby. 2010, that means 13 years. She'd be like in her
mid-30s.
Early mid-30s. I don't think she was that old.
That's what I'm saying.
Could be. She looks great for her age. She looked like she was in her maybe late 20s. Now, come on in studio.
Lipstick glass, the door is open. Maybe we'll have her in while you and KG and O-Town.
No. You guys tried doing that with me with Piven. Like, one guy I would love to meet in person. He's like, yep, Jackson's out. Get Piven. And then you're going to do it with the lipstick glass.
No, they canceled anyway.
Who's not, like, you're going to have, Sebastian Telfair on when I'm off on vacation in the winter. Come on. I want to see my guys.
Guys, I wish Iggy worked as hard on the show as he does on sabotaging KG and O-Town. That's from Big Tuft.
What is sabotaging?
Iggy being Iggy cracks me the F up. That's from Chairman Steve in Wildwood.
Now, if you're going to go off on me, let's just turn this around a little bit. If I'm sabotaging anybody, all right? I mentioned that I knew Tirico, blah, blah, blah. So he goes out and says, I'll prove that I can get him. And the same with it. I just brought up you guys want to interview Heidi Fleiss. The only reason he went and said, I got her is to show everybody I can get her number too. I can call her. That's all he's doing. You're not a producer on the show. There's no reason for you to line up guests.
I mean, I'm back here in the producer booth.
Oh, you're
I can't disagree with that comment.
And to be fair, that's what I do every day.
But Jackson's still here, so. But the fact is, that's why you did it. That's fine. I had no intention of interviewing her, but.
I would have interviewed her, and I knew nothing about her until I Googled her.
So
Seems like a neat gal.
You DM'd her and.
Said she's a whore online. Like, literally, that's what it said. So, like, this has got to be a good one.
So I wasn't sabotaging anything. Text her.
There it is, Steve in Wildwood. Now you can leave a mic drop and get ready. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you got to leave a mic drop around the contract extension for Balloon Party. That would be wonderful.
Why don't you two just get a room?
Who are we talking about now?
Steve and KG.
I'd sleep with Steve.
I mean, obviously, you're a big fan and just. Oh, he's so great. Come over. I got a back room you can stay in. Let's play golf.
This is so hot.
What?
So much sexual tension. I can't
He
even
interviewed
over it.
Steve in his apartment.
Yeah, he did.
There was a Christmas tree night.
Very intimate setting.
A big one.
It's time for the designer heating and cooling bill. I mean, it's time for Balloon Party.
Really?
I'd like to issue an apology to the elderly fellow who wanders in and out of your Cracker Box studio like a nomadic hunter-gatherer searching for coworkers to sniff. In the past few weeks, Iggy has been called some pretty mean names. I don't really think that you breathe so heavily you could be mistaken for a human CPAP machine. And just because you struggle to finish a thought before rambling on to the next pointless story doesn't mean you need to be taken to the Gatesworth. Those are just jokes. Yes, certain terrorist organizations are jealous of your ability to hijack. But the Colts beat writers should not call you Osama Boots Laden. Sure, you think you're qualified to become a sorority house mother for college girls because you saw the movie House Bunny, but that doesn't make you an elderly creep like everyone says. What's so bad about a 65-year-old unmarried porn addict giving some motherly advice to impressionable young college girls as they learn to live on their own? And just because you're butthurt about not being invited to Las Vegas with Rick and KG, that doesn't mean you're a jealous laundry detergent thief who resembles a pumpkin. So on behalf of the texters, emailers, and anyone else who mocks you, I'd like to issue a formal apology by officially saying, and there's a drive into deep left field by Castellanos, and that'll be a home run to make it 4-0. Good luck in Vegas, boys. Say hi to Heidi Fleiss and the Mole people for me. That's from the JV golf coach.
JV golf coach.
Morning, guys. It's me, Harold, over at the agency again. Just wanted to loop back around to see if you guys found my clients, the Fabulous Fish Co. and Blue Chew, any other portion of the show to sponsor literally anything other than the hostage video he does where he makes canned beans and hand-torn bread for like 6 stay-at-home sads and Larry Nichols' 9 accounts and then hammers feminine cigarettes on his stoop as Ellis Island registration takes place over his shoulder. Over the course of 6 months, each kicking show was getting like 200 total views per show, and those weren't even unique views because they all came from the same guy who posts 14 times a day on the fan page about the weather and gifts he bought himself. There's somebody posting on the fan page about the gifts he bought himself.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
And then the Blue Chew spot you guys did literally lost us customers after your guy kept berating our key demographic for having small rods and ugly wives. I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking a couple of make goods for our magic pill might be appropriate here. Look, I appreciate you always staking your reputation on this guy's miserable live reads, but I'm just not sure we're wanting to sponsor the weather segment where he talks about rain not being precipitation anymore, or the bummer testimonial he shared where he stuffed a couple of Poplar Bluff 2s with a Red Baron meat lovers and then let the wife rock on top of him.
until she voided his exoskeleton back into his hallway sink while the husband cried himself to sleep behind the glittery stack of Bittenbender signature bowling balls. Anyways, I'll be here when you're ready. Thanks. Say, for instance, you went to Brown. You think these teeny tiny Cabbage Patch Doll costume jewelry, purple goggles would be cool on campus if I dyed my hair platinum blonde and styled it like a bricklaying lesbian.
Long ass name.
Oh, Hallway Sink. Hallway Sink is underrated.
By the way, Blue Chew, love my smile.
And finally, ours is the type of presentation where the listeners feel free to drop in at any time and recommend Vegas spots to find the batchy parties from the Pacific Northwest so he can sit in the corner and pleasure himself like Charlie Murphy while KG in O-Town has a threesome with the maid of honor and bride-to-be. So let's say you went to
Every email.
and you went to a strip club to see your friend's girlfriend naked, and you felt awkward once you got in there and put $1 between her breasts. Would you be more likely to take a look at a Filipino stripper to the zoo? Legit loved Iggy's photo gallery he posted yesterday for National Radio Day, which was actually the day before. Happy birthdays have a strict 24-hour policy, but National Radio Day is basically Christmas and Thanksgiving rolled into one, and you have to observe it even if you're a day late. My favorite photo was the one of Dillian holding up an autographed glossy of Iggy with the caption, "I'm not exaggerating when I say I banged 500 bras," with Jennings laughing his ass off next to her. Dillian could have been 501 when she went back to Iggy's patio with Leo and his killer weed and a few dozen other friends of the feather. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Now Iggy has to settle for his Dillian fleshlight that he pretends he doesn't know how to use. This from the guy who today admitted he pleasured himself to his interview with Leah Remini when she said she'd make out with him. That's from Buck Swope, and that's what we have for the Design Air Heating and Cooling. Jackson, what do we got?
Bricklaying lesbian.
What's the guy? If I went to Brown?
Yeah, bricklaying.
Well, that was two different people.
Yeah, it was a long name. I don't know.
Bricklaying lesbian. Bricklaying lesbian. You have won the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, Jackson. I got to go take it on down on a balloon party. This has been TMA. Bye. Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I'm with a great sponsor of TMA, and that's Longo Big.